Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to get started. And guys, it's getting crazy and crazy. This story right here that I'm about to share with you guys, it really ministered to my heart. So I really wanted to talk about it today. Because this story just really captivated me when I first heard about it. And I wanted to wait a little longer to see what information came out. And you'll be surprised how the news will portray a story, and it's actually the polar opposite of what the news stations are saying, basically, or what the news reporters are saying. So let's talk about this woman here. Her name is Gloriana Zamora. Okay, she is a fitness guru. She basically inspires women who are mothers to, go to the gym, get physically fit, after having children, because a lot of times women struggle with losing weight, and it could have an emotional toll on women, especially when your husbands or spouses are out looking for other women, maybe having a wandering eye. But this story, guys, it has so many nuances and just turns and twists. And different ways in which the news outlet portrays this story. Okay, so let's go into the background of who this woman is first of all. So Zamora, she is a Hispanic, wonderful woman. What the news portrayed her as, fitness inspiration. She has 7 children. She has gone through 2 different marriages. Her first marriage, her first husband had cheated on her repeatedly, and she tried to make the relationship work, and she ended up having 3 children in that marriage. After that marriage and the first husband's repeated cheating, she divorced him, and she went on to marry a new husband. This new husband, by the way, he is not an American citizen. He is from Mexico, and he was here in America illegally. Okay, so he had a little, concern about being caught up in that. And this is the new husband here. His name is Tamayo, Mr. Tamayo. That's his last name, Thomas Tamayo, basically. And, he was a hardworking man, according to witnesses that talk about him. And a lot of times men do not want to be with a woman who has children. They usually want a woman that does not have children. But he did the honorable thing. He took in her 3 children. He took care of her 3 children as well as her. He was a hardworking man. They ended up having 3 more children, which totaling for them to have 7 children in its entirety. During this marriage, Tamayo, basically, he worked very hard, and Gloria, she started to look at her body in the mirror, and she just wasn't happy with her body. She was gaining a lot of weight after having these children. And she just, talked to her husband, and she was like, honey, I don't feel good about how I look. And she just kept complaining about it. Well, her husband, being the caring, devoted husband, according to sources, he invested over 26,000 plus money in enhancements. So he paid for her to get multiple surgeries in terms of LIPO. She had a rib removed in order to, give her that kind of hourglass look to her waist. And sources that are on his side of the equation, they state that she had other surgeries such as a BBL and possibly it looks like to me she had breast implants, but I don't know. Okay. This woman, though, however, she went on a podcast weeks before her death, and she claimed that she only had liposurgery. She did not have BBL. She claimed it was her natural butt, but according to her husband, and he had actually been talking to various people after the interviews that had occurred, and he would speak to anyone who would listen. He went to various social outlets, even the social outlet that interviewed her initially. And he tried to tell them, he said, hey, she's not being honest. She had multiple surgeries. And basically, this woman here was, according to people who knew her, she was a fraud. And I say she was a fraud because she lied to her people who were inspired to her, and she deceived them into thinking that she achieved this hourglass, beautiful body through physical fitness, and that she had this magical, formula, I would say, to help women who have had children achieve their ultimate dream body. When in reality, her body was not the realistic, natural body that a woman has after having a child. She had to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to obtain this hourglass body, and all those exercises that she was showing her fans and people who had ended up following her were all lies. This woman sat, and the sad part is there were many women that looked up to her, especially in the Hispanic community, and they were following her tips. And she actually blew up online because of her body and all the enhancements she got. People started to admire her physique and different content on Instagram and TikTok and other social media outlets and Facebook that she had. So the sad part about this story is they believed her that she just achieved this body through all her exercise techniques. But in reality, she had her husband, who was a hardworking husband and devoted, according to his side, was paying for all these surgeries, allegedly. Okay. This man here who had been taking care of her for over 16 years of their marriage and took in her 3 children, which is not typical of a man. They normally don't want to be with a woman who has children of that sort, that amount, 3 children, with baggage of being an ex-wife. But he did all that for about 16 years. He had worked hours and hours and hours to provide for them and pay for her surgeries. He deeply loved this woman, Well, throughout that marriage, allegedly, Gloria became bored. She was just getting tired of the marriage, and she set her eyes on another. She started getting all these enhancements, right? So as she got all these enhancements, y'all, she started getting more attention, not just from people who admired her looks, but from the opposite sex. And other men started eyeing her, looking at how caliente her body was and beautiful she was. And she came across a particular man that really was attracted to her. And they started in this, and then let me just go back before we even get into the new man, okay? Just last year, she talked about all the things she loved about her husband. She even had celebrated his birthday, and last year talking about what a wonderful husband he was. Here's some of her social media here, as you can see. Her whole image was a lie. A lot of people had admired this woman. And you can even look at her butt here. It doesn't even look realistic. Like, it looks just to me, it looks fake. That's how I could just say it. I'm not saying you can't achieve a butt like this, but her butt looks like she had surgery. But she lied to her fans saying, oh, my hips and everything's just natural. I was born this way. But look here, you can see here on January 25th, 2025, she celebrated his birthday and just how much she loved him and admired him. And she says here, happy birthday to my handsome hubby. That was January 2024. Just last year. She was just admiring her husband. This was her husband and just how great of a husband he was, right? And then January 23, Merry Christmas. And this is all the family. And they just look like this perfect family. There's the husband. He's always very supportive. He deeply loved his wife. And in fact, a lot of his family members did not like Gloria, allegedly. The cousins kept telling him, dude, you do not need to marry this woman. They kept trying to convince him not to marry her. They felt like she wasn't, this is the kids that they have a lot of kids, but they felt like she was, a 304. That basically they were trying to warn him of say, don't marry this woman. But you know, he really loved her. He really loved her. So he didn't listen to his family. He decided, you know what, I'm just gonna go and marry her anyway. Okay. So they had been married for 16 years, you guys. 16 years. But just like her first husband, she grew tired of him and she started to, you know, start feeling herself because she was this gorgeous girl. She started getting all this attention. I mean, there were men that wanted her, y'all. It was just great, great. Okay. And as she started getting all this attention, there was this particular man that stood out to her. Now, one thing I have to tell you is it seems that she is attracted to men that have a certain persona about them. And that persona is they got money. Okay. Basically, if you got the money and the honey, that's all that matters. Okay. So she becomes immersed with this particular man, you know, and this is while she's married still. Let me actually see if I can find a picture of that man. Okay. Okay, let's see if we can find it. Okay, here's the guy. And actually we'll go to his where's his picture? We'll go to his social media too. I don't know really what she's seen in him, but we're gonna go on his page and we're gonna break it down. So get you some popcorn. Okay. So she started to become attracted. What is this? Why is it here? Okay, there it is. She started to become attracted to this man here on the screen. His name is Hector Garduno, and he's 43 years old. Now, why are they always having these pop-ups? Jesus, Lord. Sorry, guys. They just keep. So frustrating. Jesus, okay, so this is the guy. His name. You know what? Forget it. Let's go to his Instagram because they're gonna keep popping it and dropping and locking. And I'm over here trying to get to the page. We'll go to her social media, her Instagram too, because you'll see some interesting trends here. So they met Hector. Let me get to his picture real quick. Thank you for your patience. If I could just get to the man's picture. Come on. Oh gosh, it's so annoying. Sorry guys. It does this thing where it likes to have pop-ups. His name is Hector Ivan, and he has quite a few amount of kids too. They are a very big Brady bunch, I have to say. Hector Ivan. Zamora. Okay, I think I have a picture of him. Okay, so this young man here, he is a businessman. Okay. He's well known in the community for all the businesses that he has. There's the man on the screen. He's 43 years old. I forgot to mention that Gloria just turned 40 years old this year. She, again, mother of 7. He has about 4 kids, from my understanding, or 4 daughters. Or is it 4 daughters? I think he has 4 daughters. But he has 4 daughters. They're ranging from various ages, from very little and up. And some of them are adults. Same thing with her. She has some daughters in their 20s and some kids that are younger than that. Okay. So he has a lot of money. This man was bragging online. He had a lot of cars. He was just, and then he kind of was in competition, it appears as though, with Gloria's husband on social media, on Instagram. And so when Gloria's husband would post different cars on his account, then in turn, Hector would go ahead and post the same car, as though, hey, I got the same car as you. I can outdo you. I'm a better man than you are. He started to taunt Gloria's husband. And Gloria's husband basically started to catch wind of this affair. You see, Gloria's husband, according to her daughter, was a jealous husband. And he pretty much was tracking down different times when Gloria would be meeting up secretly last year and going on with this man. Okay. They were meeting in cars and, all kinds of places. And Gloria's husband would catch them. He even took photographs of them in the car together. He confronted them. There was one time when he actually had took her phone to find out what was going on. And when he took her phone, she aggressively tried to get her phone back and ended up assaulting and battering her husband, causing some lacerations and injuries to him. And Gloria called the police thinking that, she was going to get him arrested. And she was hanging over his head, this threat that she was going to get him deported because, again, he was not an American citizen. So he was pretty much afraid, but it backfired on her because the officers ended up arresting her for domestic violence. And she had a charge back in January of 2024 for battery because she was trying to get that phone back and ended up hitting her husband. Now, there's two different sides to this story, y'all. On one side, we have the family, the daughters, the children of Gloria saying that her husband was abusive and that, he was very controlling and very jealous. That's what the daughter says. But on the other side, her husband says, family says a whole different polar opposite. They're portraying the image of Gloria being a gold-digging, money-hungry woman who used her hardworking husband, who took her and her 3 children into his home and took care of her for over a decade, and who then used him and cheated on him and left him in the end. And she had been lying to this man on the screen. You see, this man, she was telling everybody that she filed for divorce of her husband last year. Come to find out, she did not file for divorce until a week prior to an interview that she had on the podcast and very shortly prior to her death. And her husband had eventually recently moved out of the home because she had threatened to get him deported. So he was hiding out basically from authorities and ICE. He didn't want to get deported, and she had been, hanging that over his head. So basically, this man over here thinking that this woman's getting a divorce, when in reality, she had been still living with him from last year and on. And she had been, as you've seen from the post I showed you just last year, she was celebrating his birthday, calling him this amazing husband. So she was lying to the man, okay? But that didn't stop this man. He was very prideful and bold and bogus. He was just bragging about all the riches and items he had. This is his TikTok here, or Instagram, sorry. And if you can see here, we're going to go through some of those. And we're actually going to go through some of the comments because, y'all, the people are going in on these victims. I mean, the comments are literally brutal. They're brutal and unapologetic, basically. So here's a picture of him, and you see him with the middle fingers up. And this picture here is very, very significant. You see, because before this picture was taken, Gloria's husband had caught them again in, cheating. And, he was basically laughing about that and taunting and flipping off her husband. And look at the statement that he says here see how he's doing that. And this is the same card that Gloria's husband had posted on his social media. So he had been posting this to say, look, I got the same car you have. You're not crap. Look at me. I'm winning. I have your wife, blah, blah, blah. Right. He says, you're the creator of your own reality. And then Gloria, look at her. She has this thirst trap on this man's photo here, this emoji. And I'm going to get into the comments. We don't take our time because the comments are, they went into these two. But anyway, this little thirst trap here. But basically, y'all, this is disrespectful to her husband. How are you putting drooling emojis on another man's picture when you're a whole married woman out here? It's insanely disgusting. And this woman had been liking this man's photos regularly for almost over a year, because she started, you see her right here, Gloria Zamora. She liked this photo back in June. But she had been liking his pictures even last year in 2024, in February and on. We'll go into that. But this man, you can tell too, he was purposely posting stuff like this to taunt her husband. And her husband felt that way because he had been seeing her, she had been cheating on her husband with this man for over a year. Okay. So he would post these pictures, he would post these videos to get her attention and cater to her. And even the songs are that he would post in here were all strategic to, you know, suit and cater to her and get her attention again as they're in this sexual relationship for over a year. But also at the same time to kind of taunt and show how tough and big and bad he was to her husband, because her husband was going through hell, y'all. He was following her all the way around. He was catching them in cars late at night. He was taking still shot photos of them. This man was going through emotional hell. There was a time when he and this guy on the screen, Hector, the side dude, and Gloria had went to Disneyland. And the 7 children had complained to her husband that they were hungry and mom had not fed them. And that enraged her husband because her husband loves his kids. And he's like, hey, what's going on? That's kind of how he also found out that she had left the children for an entire day when it was supposed to be in Disneyland. Left them at home, y'all. Or left them in the hotel. I don't know where she left them, but they were starving the entire time, right? Or sorry, yeah, because left them at home because I'm like, they lived in LA, but so she left them at home. And the whole day, y'all, she was with this man taking naked photos. I'm going to show you the photos they took together, okay? They were taking photos, her booty all out, the fake breast implant, was all sticking out. I mean, on that Camaro card that I showed you earlier, this photo right here, we're going to get into all this, y'all. It's going to get deep. Get your popcorn because it's going to be, we dissecting this, and there's a lot of stuff in here. I'm telling you, people were brutal in this story. When I first heard this story on the news, I'm thinking this woman's a victim. I'm thinking this woman, she was abused and then she was beat down, because the way she portrayed herself in that podcast before she was brutally murdered by her husband in a fit of crime of passion, this woman went on a podcast acting as though she was the queen of Zamundo and had been a victim her entire life, from the time when she was a child to the time she was married the first time and she claimed her husband had cheated on her, to the time now her second marriage. And something in my intuition had to tell me before I knew the whole story. This was before I knew all this side of it. Something told me this woman is acting like she's the victim and something is not really adding up here. Is she manipulating the story? Like, she's trying to have this victim's mentality, but I feel like she's not telling the whole story. Something in my gut was like, this is not the full story, right? So I went down this rabbit hole and found a flurry of drama, y'all, that's about to pop out of the story, okay? So anyways, she's having all these sexual escapades with this dude. She's naked. She was lying to her kids, telling her kids this was her business partner. She told her kids this, right? She's like, well, because she wanted to open this fitness center up. And so she said, well, my husband, he won't let me do an OnlyFans. And this man here, Hector's going to help me do an OnlyFans and also open my dream fitness center. And so this is my business partner. So the kids over here thinking this man's a business partner, but her husband knows the truth that she had been having an affair with this man for over a year. And it had been boiling up. This dude was going through it. Not him. This is the side dude. But her husband had been going through it, y'all. Let me get back his picture up real quick. He had been going through it, y'all. This man for a year sat there and had been suffering behind closed doors. He had been arguing with her, telling her he saw her with these men. Those times he had been following her around. And she got out of her car one time and she's like, why are you following me? And in my mind, I'm like, girl, the nerve of you to ask your husband, why is he following you? First of all, that's your husband. Second of all, he took you in with your 3 kids after you were a divorced woman. And most men would not do that. And third of all, he paid for every surgery you had to your butt, your liposuction, the ribs you got removed from your waist. And I suspect you got the breast implants because your breasts they'll sit up way too high. And I know nobody's breasts naturally sit that high almost to her chin. Okay? You're lying. Okay? And I'll show you some pictures. So I think it's not realistic. But anyways, this man had been going through it. The news painted this man. I'm gonna show you the first how the news painted it. Now then I'll show you what people who know these people are telling us. Okay. But the news made it look like this man was a deranged ex-husband and that was out here stalking the wife and couldn't let go. But the reality is, this man had been living with her up until a week before she filed for divorce, and she had been cheating on him over a year with this man that he had been constantly catching them in the act. Seeing phone messages. The man's taunting the guy on social media, with all these anytime the husband posts a picture of a car, then her mistress boyfriend, he posts a picture of the same car saying, look what I got. I can get that and more. I can afford more than you. I'm a businessman. I'm successful. He's doing the middle finger, trying to taunt this man, laughing about it, smiling to taunt this man. You see that right there? And this man's known this for a year. He's like, haha, I got your wife. He's doing all these workout videos because he knows this is drawing her in even more. And it's also showing, hey, I'm a tough guy. Bring it on, Mr. Hubby. I'll beat your blah. You know what I mean? That's basically what he was doing, posting this. And the husband's watching this and he's losing his mind. I mean, by the day, the man is losing his mind. He's telling anybody who would listen. The man was reaching out to social media outlets. He reached out to everybody. I mean, anybody who would listen to this man. The husband was going through it, y'all. He was going insane. And this man's over here calmly laughing, saying, ha, I got your woman. And Gloria, you see almost every post, she over here liking every video this man does. And the songs that he picks on these posts are very meticulous. Now, 1 minute he posts. Right? He posting kind of hood music. Then the next thing you know, he's posting this kind of music. So you notice he posting this Spanish music because that's catering to Gloria. Gloria loves Spanish music. She's a Hispanic woman. He's Hispanic too, but she likes music like that. So he posts these things to kind of cater to her, show him how strong he is. He's Hispanic. He's accustomed to his Hispanic roots, which is what she loves because she's very, very prideful about her as being a Hispanic woman, which is wonderful. But this man knows what he's doing. Every post he does is strategic. But then I'm like, man, you playing us because then you posting urban music like this. So I'm thinking here, so he posting this stuff. You using N-words and stuff on your video, bruh. To me, I feel like he's more of an Americanized Hispanic, that he likes, urban rap music, N-words, but he's posting these videos that have certain songs like the Hispanic Mexican music to cater to her. I think it's for her. And she's eating it up, y'all. She's been going with this man for a year and a half, and she's eating it up. You see how she's liking everything. Look at this right here. She's liking his videos, and he over here flexing for social media, blessings, life. Los Vegas. He's getting a little Spanish stuff going on, Again, right here, he said, look at this. Okay, this part right here, this is what I want to say. This part when he's saying, this is how I feel about the current situation. Okay, look at that. This post had meaning, and it was related to the affair that he was having with Gloria. You see, that very day that he posted this, Gloria's husband caught him and her in a car, right? So Gloria's husband was pissed off, okay? They got into this crazy argument, and this led to this post here. The mistress husband over here posted this mocking Gloria's husband. And this is what he said. He said, this is how I feel about the current situation. Laughing, I don't give a care, and middle finger with a smile. Like, ha, I got your man, I got your woman. I'm stealing her. I'm slapping those cheeks every night, and you can't do nothing about it. So by each post that this man is posting, it's constantly festering in Gloria's husband's mind. He is being tormented. The man can't eat. He can't sleep. His kids are being neglected because this woman is too concerned with her Hispanic lover, her businessman, this man, flossing around all this money. And she's in love with the fact that he's everything that she feels her husband is not. this strong man, nice body. He's into fitness like her. He's got all this money. He's a girl dad. Look at, he's got his 4 girls on here. Look at girl dad. And this was very key because this was something Gloria liked. And they've been talking, they've been talking for over a year. So he knew everything that Gloria liked. And she was eating up the fact that he's a girl dad because she has her children. And he tries to show that he's so in love with his kids, posting that girl dad term to him. And she's eating it all up. Eating it all up. There's his daughters and stuff on the screen, y'all. And the man, he was flashing all of his assets and stuff. But let me show you what he was doing. Let me show you this is his little daughter. These are all his kids. Again, another manipulation. Look at her. This is Gloria here. Beautiful family. Girl dad. Look at that word. That term. This what she posted. Girl dad. She loved it, right? After she posted that, you notice how he's eating up what she said. And then all of a sudden he posts a video of him later on, a few days later, and he puts girl dad. You see what he's doing there? He's doing it to cater to and feed into everything this woman wants in a man. And so in her mind, she's thinking, man, this is the man of my dreams. Why am I wasting my time with this low-life, weak, little scrawny husband of mine who doesn't have a lot of money? He's working all these hours, and this man is a businessman. He's hot. He's a girl's dad. He's got a nice body. He's everything. He's a bad boy. Look he's posting him at the shooting range. This was strategically posted, y'all, to get to Gloria's husband, to show how tough of a man he is. And it actually did get back to Gloria's husband because he wrote in a post on his Instagram. I'm going to read it to you. And I'll go into another post, but I'm going to read you exactly what he posted. And he actually deleted this. Let's read what he posted here. Let me try to get it on my little, I'm going to read it to you because I only have it on my phone, y'all. But where is it, y'all? Where is it? Let me get it. Okay. So he deleted this later on, but he posted this. This is how I know it was getting to the husband. Okay. Let's go back to the husband because y'all probably like trying to follow who is who. Back to Mr. Husband over here. So this is what husband ended up posting on his Instagram one time. He says, protect your gym facility from fitness influencers like this with no moral on them. And he's talking about the guy she was having an affair with, Hector. She said, don't have self-respect. Peaches by Gloria Zamora. He's talking about his wife on video with her lover, cheering her on her actual husband's 16 years of marriage with Hector Ivan, 1942. You see, this man husband was tagging the man, the username and everything before he ended up murdering them. Okay. He said, influencer escradaba siendo infiel a su actual esposa. He said, hello, I am the current husband of Gloria Zamora, fitness influencer. I have a true story to tell. I found out that she is being unfaithful to me with another person. There are many podcasts that support women for their achievements, but they should also expose how other women cheat and lie to be able to move up in this work environment. I paid for her BBL surgeries. She injected body fat into the upper part of her buttocks so that she looks completely full so she could start her business as a fitness influencer. I realized that she is being unfaithful in our marriage. She is cheating on me with her lover for money. Remember that money. This woman is a gold digger. See, she used her husband to come up financially. This man, and she used her husband to pay for all her surgeries. And then when he had done all that, then she used her body enhancements to get what she really wanted, a rich businessman. She was trying to go out to seduce a rich businessman and come up in life and just kind of be that Hollywood woman that gets to stay at home and chill while her rich business husband goes out and, pays for her to get all these lavish things, right? So she used this man, okay? Now she's getting the guy she really wanted, was the rich businessman, Hector. And just like he said, she was cheating on him for money because he's giving her money. He's spoiling her. He's taking her out everywhere. I mean, you name it. He's about to pay for her fitness facility, which is what she's always wanted. But on her podcast, this woman paints herself as being this angel, this angeles, and that she's the good person, and all these men are trying to abuse her and cheat on her, when in reality, this woman was a manipulative, using gold digger woman who valued her looks and men over her own children. Her priority was a man who had money and wealth, so she can use them over taking care of the 7 children that she had at home and sustaining a marriage. Okay, so let's keep reading what her husband said in his post that he deleted. He said she traded her family for an economic position, and it is not acceptable to me that she is doing this to me. I do not something our marriage. I helped her raise 3 children from her 2 previous marriages. Now, she been lying, y'all. She told the podcast that she had a prior marriage, right? And she's divorced the man because she claimed he cheated. Now, I don't even believe that. I think she did the same thing to the prior husband, and that's what her current husband, estranged husband here, had said. He said he felt like she had done the same thing to the other husbands. But she had been living this lie and making it sound like she's the victim. She's this devoted wife, and these men keep cheating on her and doing her wrong. And she's just this angel of God who keeps getting done wrong by men. Okay. And that's what she does. Every time she gets a new man, she uses them, sucks them dry. And then when they don't have what she wants anymore, she moves on to the next. And then she moves on to the next. That's basically what this husband is finding out about her, in his opinion. He says, I have children. I have 3 children. Oh, sorry. He said, I helped raise her 3 children from her 2 past marriages. I bought her a new car. Oh, I got to talk about that new car. So anyways, the woman she wanted to leave this guy. She had been having this affair with Mr. Businessman, rich man Hector for over a year. And the only reason why, y'all, she stayed with her husband, because she didn't want him no more, but she stayed with him because he said he was going to buy her a new car. So she just pretended to stay married. She didn't want him anymore, but she was like, I'm just going to stay with him until he buys me the new car, and then I'm going to divorce him. Okay, so he ended up buying her the new car, right? And then he said, I helped her operate on her body. I have 3 children with her, and it seems unfair to me that she lies to get ahead and does not tell the truth. I have a story that I think what's happening to me happened to her other partners. Bingo. He says he feels like she's going around doing this to all kinds of men. Like she's doing it to every husband that she has, and then she turns around and makes it look like they're the problem, when in reality, this woman is a manipulative gold digger, in my opinion. In my opinion, may she rest in peace. I don't think she deserved to die, but we got to tell the whole side and every side, okay? Anyway, she said, the husband said, when she starts a new relationship out of convenience, she's going to say she's not with her partner anymore, so she can start cheating on her current husband with her new lover. You see that? I feel like this woman's coming off as more like a narcissist. Narcissists will love bomb a person, rush into a romantic, a passionate relationship, use them up, and then discard them and go on to the next and the next and the next and the next, and continue to use them. And they look for certain people that are out of their league to use them, suck them dry, and then throw them away like they're trash. Basically what she has been doing, according to her husband before he had died. Okay. Then he said she's going to say she's not with her husband anymore, so that she can start cheating on her current husband with her new lover. I need help to be able to tell my reality, or something like that, my real story. And then he put hashtag fitness woman, hashtag fitness model, hashtag empower women, hashtag woman support, hashtag fit moms, fitness model, and fitness girl. This man had been crying out before he lost his dang mind, y'all. He went to everybody. Everybody would listen. He was posting it online. He was reaching out to all kind of people. This man had lost his mind. He was so hurt by what she had done. He felt so taken advantage of. After all he had done for this woman, like he could have had any other woman. And he chose to be with a woman who had all them damn kids, y'all. And he was like, and then he spent all this money on this girl's body enhancement, as you can see here. This photo right here, y'all. She says, I had the pleasure of working with Gazunga. I followed her work for a while, and I absolutely love her. And you could just tell this is breast implants, right? She claimed up and down she only had ribs, and the reason why her only had a liposuction, but reality is this woman had all kind. Her whole body is surgical, right? But she had been living this lie. She took these photos with Mr. Hector. Look at Hector liked it and everything. Her little side dude. Nobody who has a husband, should be dressed like this in front of another man. Okay? And then you got the nerve to lie and tell your fans that you achieved this dream body after having 7 children through natural exercise, which was a lie. And to me, I felt like it was just absolutely absurd and wrong and a complete scam to her fans, because I bet you women have been going through so much emotional turmoil following this woman, trying to emulate the exercises that she had given them to do, and turning out that their body could never get to this point because it wasn't a real body. It was a surgical magical fake body. Basically, the woman had all kinds of surgeries. I mean, they had to remove her ribs, for God's sake, to get her to have this dream curvy waistline here. Okay, so after this had continued to go on, right, I told you Hector started losing his mind. I think he had lost after. There was a point when she did this podcast, y'all. I think this podcast was the icing on the cake. This was the last straw that had broke the camel's back. Meaning, after this particular podcast that was done 3 weeks ago, at least a week before her death, she had came out and had talked about how her husband was, verbally abusive, controlling. He was basically discouraging her from her dream job and her career. He was telling her how she's not good enough, she's not pretty enough, she doesn't have a nice body enough to ever be a fitness role model to anyone. That's what she told her fans. Okay. So again, she always paints this picture, and I want to encourage you. I'm not going to watch this whole thing because it's like 3 or 4 hours, and I'll probably put a link in the description for you to watch this podcast. But if you watch these podcasts, I want you to pay attention to each story she talks about. She goes into the background of her life, the background of her first marriage and her new marriage that she's about to leave. And just notice a common theme in every one of her stories. She's always the victim. She never takes accountability. She never ever tells what she has done wrong in those marriages or in her childhood. She always paints the picture like she is the victim. Everybody has done this woman wrong in her mind, and she is the angel that has appeared in her life. That to me was a red flag, because nobody and their mama is perfect. Everybody got flaws. So that's where I knew that something was wrong with this woman. But anyway, a week before, her husband saw this, right? Her husband saw her go on a social media platform and clown the hell out of him, okay? Let me tell you why her marriage was falling apart. Let's see if we can get a little bit of this clip here.
A lot of things, right? And you overcame so many. But not, yes, and I'm sure you had your moments where you cried, which, valid. And, but you kept going and you didn't give up, and you still are.
I still don't give up.
You still don't give up. And you still are. I think this is your prime, where you know who you are, and you know what you're capable of, and no one's going to stop that. So either you join me or get out of my way.
Yeah, that's literally me. If you're not going to join me, you're not going to support me, knowing that you see this in me and you're not supporting me, it's like, what the fuck am I doing?
It's because you have the wrong partner.
Literally. Yeah, for sure. It takes a really secure man to really value like what they have at home.
Mm-hmm.
Because and everybody has, like how we talked about earlier, everybody has like their life journey.
Yes.
I don't think my life journey was to be somebody that can settle, even though I feel like I wish I had like what these other girls had, to where they get married and their man, because there is men out there men out there that they praise their women and they acknowledge how great of a woman, mom, whether you're a stay-home mom, whether you're a stay-home mom, or you go out and you make money just like your husband does, but they don't treat them like shit.
They allow them to walk in that, and they support it and empower it.
Yeah, because like I said, I don't have an issue with being submissive. I think like us as women, but there's an extent to that. There's an extent to where you can be submissive to your man, you can be in your femininity with your man. I'm okay with that in my house. If my man could put me in my femininity, I'm gonna stay there. You're my king. I'm gonna treat you like 100%. You are my everything.
For sure.
But the moment that you don't treat me good and you don't appreciate who I am, like even my person of who I am, and you don't allow me to be me to my fullest, like I'll eventually get to the point where like, yeah, I'm not appreciated.
Yeah.
Because I hated that's who I am with my first marriage and this one. I hated the fact that I can be submissive to you and I can be this wonderful woman because I'm a girl. This is my day to day. I go to work, I come home, I take care of my kids, I feed them, I clean. I'm very domestic. Like I'll clean my household. Like I'll make sure my shit is clean. I'll make sure that my stuff is organized.
You handle all your responsibilities,
everything,
and some.
And all I want you to do is treat me like I should be treated.
Yeah.
First of all, girl, bye. Let me just say that first. Girl, bye. Your husband, and I'm going to talk to her like she here. Your husband treated you like you were a woman. He spent thousands of dollars on your body to completely revamp your entire body, from your breast to your rib cage to your waist to your butt, everything on you. He worked hours, countless nights, shifts, you name it, to reconstruct your entire body, take care of 7 of your children, make sure he had bought a new house and a new car for you. How much more is that? He's putting her in her femininity. That man is beyond the highest level of a real man, in my opinion. To me, that is a man who's a provider. And when a man steps into the position of being a provider of the household to take care of not only his own biological children, but 3 children from a prior marriage, and also give her every desire of her heart, I feel like he did put her in her femininity. That's why I'm saying this woman makes it look like she is the most perfect woman in all these marriages, and the man aren't leveling up to her. And that just, to me, does not a natural description of a relationship, because it takes 2 people in that relationship, and both parties have to contribute to the ultimate welfare and successful sustainability of that relationship. And she comes off as this person who is the most perfect woman, and she has been victimized by all these men, when it's a lie. Because as you look, and I want to encourage you to watch these podcasts and really just pay attention, because you'll notice this woman always makes it look like everybody is out to get her, but she just has been perfect her whole life. Girl, bye. Girl, bye. Now let's continue on. And I'm going to actually go through some clips after this, and just let's see what else she got to say on here, and then we'll go to some clips of what she said before on this same podcast, that her husband had to sit and watch. And imagine what he's going through in his head. You see, this man has spent 16 years with this woman, and he's watching this woman make a complete shame out of him in front of everyone who's watching this podcast. He was humiliated. He felt taken for granted in the most lowest level. And I'm telling you, men, you cannot play with anyone's heart. I'm just going to keep it real. Not even just men or women, but especially men. Do not play with a man's heart, because they will lose their mind and they will take you out. Same thing with a woman. Don't play with anyone's heart. It's not a game. It's not a game. And I'm not saying anyone deserves to die. This is not what I'm trying to say, but I'm trying to share this story to help people understand the importance of being honest and upfront and devoted or communicative in your relationship, and not take someone for granted, and because that can lead to fatal results of what happened to this woman, this 40-year-old woman who is now no longer able to be in the life of her 7 children.
And
allow me to be me.
And that's already
Don't
hard.
stop me. Don't prevent me from doing things, or don't, I think like when you're in a situation like that, I hate that in the 2 marriages that I just give myself, like completely give myself, to where I feel like there's a part where these men start taking advantage of that.
As you should. If you're in a marriage, you're supposed to give of yourself. That's what I'm saying. She's making it sound as though you know, I'm rewarding these men by giving myself in the marriage. And they are taking advantage of me giving myself to my husband in marriage. Girl, bye. That's what a marriage is. You leave to cleave. You leave, and you are supposed to be unselfish in that relationship and make sacrifices in that relationship. And if you're not ready to do that, then you should not enter into a covenant of marriage.
Because they know they have, it's what it is. It's like they know they have you. Yeah. And they know that she's not gonna go nowhere. You're fully committed, you're fully loyal, and she's not going anywhere. And I have it so good here. So they start to get comfortable and they start to get to where they're at now. Right. But then what they don't understand is that a woman like you eventually starts to see that. I think any woman, any woman, let me rephrase that. Any woman starts to notice when, and everything clicks. I'm not happy. What are they providing? What are they bringing? What are they not? It's hard not to look at the pros and the cons of, this is what I'm putting into the relationship and this is what they're putting into the relationship. I'm not treated equally. I'm not being respected. I'm out here hustling, and I'm not doing anything wrong besides being a mother, a wife, and a hustler. And that's bothering you because I'm not catering you to your every need. I need to be submissive in your way. Not in the actual way that it should be. Right?
Like,
what is this woman saying? Be submissive in your way, not the way it should be. They're talking in circles. What she just said made absolutely zero sense. Okay? It don't make any sense. Because submission has a very generic term of you submit to one another. You submit your desires and your own selfishness for the betterment of that relationship. But again, they have this selfish mindset of, I'm still supposed to be independent, do what I want. And, I don't need to listen to the needs of my husband. And then to my mind, I'm like, if you want that kind of mentality, then you shouldn't be married. You should be a single woman who's, free to do what you want. But when you enter into a marriage, it's no longer about you and your soul needs. It's about the betterment of that relationship and of that marriage and of the children involved in that marriage. But again, this woman doesn't have a marriage mindset. She just uses the marriage for assets and whatever she needs. And then when she's done and tired of that relationship, she moves on to the next guy and the next guy and the next guy and the next guy. That is how this woman operates. And then she has an enabler here of this woman who's interviewing her, who's going and catering and to this woman's mindset. Now they're going to go on here, but actually on her, can you guys hear me? Actually on her Instagram, she had clips. So we're going to go through the actual clips that I want to get to of that particular interview that she did a week before her husband lost his mind.
Will tell me, you don't want to weight lift, you're gonna look so manly. You already have thick legs, you're gonna look so like muscular and like manly. And it's such false information. You're not gonna look like a man unless
it's actually gonna build you, tone you, and give you a body.
I noticed that I have less cellulite. I noticed that my ass is less saggy. I've heard so many people tell me, you don't want to weight lift, you're gonna look so manly. You already have thick legs, you're gonna look so like muscular. Instead of you being supportive, you're over here trying to like just bring me down, tell me that I can't do this. You think you're all that? You think you're all that for you to go and work out and think that you can be on social media? Like, come on, man. Like, you're not even all that. Like, look, you have all these stretch marks. Like, really? Do you really think you're all that you can do that?
His insecurities are yelling to you. His projection is real. He's trying to bring you down so you don't leave. But what he doesn't understand is that you're pushing me more away. You're making me secure in my decision of leaving.
Instead of you being supportive, you're over here trying to like just bring me down, tell me that I can't do this.
Imagine what her husband is thinking as she's talking trash about him on a podcast that thousands and thousands of people are watching. Now, it's bad enough that women, they'll talk amongst themselves about things that are going on in their marriage, and that's in the privacy of their discussions. But imagine having this discussion in front of the entire freaking world. That her husband felt livid by this time. He literally was out here stressing out. He even reached out to this woman who was interviewing Gloria and was trying to share his side of it and say, hey, can I go on your podcast to share my side? Because, she's lying. He tried to tell her what she had done to him, how he had paid for all these surgeries, how she lied about on the podcast to all her fans, claiming she didn't have a BBL when she actually did. And she was deceiving and scamming all of her, the people that have been following her, these moms that have been looking up to her, to make it look like she had achieved this body in the gym, when in reality, he paid for all of her surgeries to enable her to have this body that she could basically use to market as this fitness guru in order to scam people and blow up on social media. So a week before, she said this stuff about him, saying that basically he's verbally abusive. He's talking down to her, telling her she's not good enough. And in fact, what is being told by people in the community who know this couple, the week that she filed for the divorce, basically a week before she was murdered, the reason why she allegedly had filed for divorce is because her husband had told her that she could not get an OnlyFans account. She wanted an OnlyFans account, and her husband was like, to hell to the no, you're not getting a OnlyFans account. So she had a little temper tantrum because, again, she wants to have everything her way. She's Mrs. Spoiled Queen Elizabeth. So she got mad. So she was like, forget it. She filed divorce because the man that she was having an affair with was like, oh, I'll help you start your OnlyFans. I'll help you open up your fitness facility. I'll pay for it, everything. He's going to front the whole thing, right? So she was like, well, then I'm going to leave my husband. I'm going to go with this man because he's a businessman. He has all this money. He can, help me reach all my dreams. He's this girl dad. He's hot as all get out. He's this tough guy. He's in the shooting range, showing all these guns. He could protect me, blah, 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 blah. And she's online trashing him. And, the reason why she said this, making it look like she had filed this divorce a year ago, was all because she knew Mr. Hector, the guy she was having an affair with, would see this, right? So she couldn't tell the truth that she actually just filed for divorce a week before she was murdered. She had to keep up with this lie that she told Hector and make it look like she had, been going through these problems with her husband since last year, when in reality, just last year, she was talking online about what an amazing husband he was. And on Facebook, she still had her marriage last name, the husband's last name, on her Facebook account, and tons of photos and everything. So, her Facebook account looked as presented as this woman who is a happily married woman, this family woman. You got all these pictures of her and her husband. She has the marriage name on there. But the Instagram account is the total polar opposite. There's not one photo of her children on that account. There's not one photo of her husband on that account. So she tries to paint this picture as this woman who is moved on from her husband, and just this sex icon that has achieved this miracle body in the gym after having 7 children, basically. So let's continue on with some of the posts. Again, her husband had to suffer through this podcast.
In my decision.
Before I move on, I want you guys to read this particular caption here. Okay, look. This is the caption that was on this post here. When she had this interview with the woman saying that, her husband's verbally abusing her, discouraging her from reaching her dreams. Look at this. It says, with husbands like these, who needs enemies? Damn. If that's not, y'all, and her husband's reading this stuff.
Understand is that you're pushing me more away. You're making me secure in my decision of leaving.
Instead of you being supportive, you're over here trying to just bring me down, tell me that I can't do this. You think you're all that? You think you're all that for you to go and work out and think that you can be on social media? Like, come on, man. Like, you're not even all that. Like, look, you have all these stretch marks. Like, really? Do you really think you're all that you can do that?
His insecurities are yelling to you. Yes. His projection is real.
Yes.
He's trying to bring you down so you don't leave.
Yes.
But what he doesn't understand is that you're pushing me more away. You're making me secure in my decision of leaving.
Instead of
the only surgery you've had is just a 360 tummy tuck.
With LIPO, the arms and LIPO to my back.
Other than that, you haven't had anything else?
No, I've always been algona. My hips are natural. a lot of people think that I did shit to my hips, but that's just natural. Like I was born that way.
Because I'm sure people look at you and they judge you and they think that you have a BBL.
That I have a BBL and my hips are fake, and I don't even have BBL scars. Because if you have BBL scars, like you have the scars underneath your butt cheeks or you have them on top, I don't have that.
Right.
The doctor literally just cut me and lifted all that skin up.
The only surgery.
She sat there with a straight face and lied on this social media. Yeah. She lied in the interview, trying to trick her fans, deceive her fans, saying she didn't have a BBL. And look at it, it says BBL rumors put to bed. Gym girl, gym rat, gym motivation. Girl, how are you motivating people with a lie? Her husband went and aired her out saying, girl, you did have BBL because I paid for that BBL. But she went on this podcast a week before to lie and say she didn't have a BBL. And her fans believed her, thinking, oh, all I have to do is do all these squats in the gym and I can get a magical bubble buddy, perky booty like she had. Okay, they thinking they're going to get that. In reality, they are not going to get the body that she had because she got surgery to do it. So a lie that she had been debunked by her husband. After he saw this, he was like, why are you sitting here lying on this thing? And notice how she knew she was lying. Because look, she turned off the comments. If you telling the truth and you really did not get a BBL and you weren't lying to your role models, people that were really looking up to you, girl, why did you turn the comments off though? She had comments on every other picture, but when it had to do with this podcast, all the comments were turned off. And I know people are going to say, oh, well, this is something that was tagged by the person who interviewed her. Of course, yes, it is. But they made sure to turn them damn comments off because she knew. Her husband probably would have went in those comments and said, girl, why are you lying, honey? You know I paid $26,000 or how much it cost to get that booty lifted. I worked hours, blood, sweat, and tears for you to get that BBL. Stop lying to people. Stop lying. Okay? So I think this interview, guys, was the last straw for the husband. He lost his mind. He lost his mind after he saw that. He was like, he stopped thinking. And then we got Mr. Hector Ivan posting pictures of him up in the shooting range, talking about how tough he is. And he got all these different firearms. He did that particularly because, again, at this time and throughout the whole affair, Gloria's husband had been catching them. He had been taking photos of them. He had been confronting them, blah, 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 about this affair. So Hector was showing photos, talking about, look how tough I am, look. And Gloria, liked it, saying, I could take you down, homie. I'll kill you if you roll up on us again, right? So husband sees that, he sees this video and he's like, oh, hell no. He go talk to his family. He said, this man over here taunting me. He's posting him at the shooting range. And by the time he saw all this stuff, I'm telling you, the man, he went out and got him a gun. He got him a gun. And he was very strategic about it. Now, one thing I'm going to tell you, a lot of these people that end up getting unalived, one of the reasons why they do is because of their arrogance and cockiness. And they're very loud about who they are, meaning like this guy, posting guns and stuff like that. The person that wants to take you out isn't going to do that. They're not going to post about it. They're not going to say anything about it on social media. In fact, they're going to remain silent. And they're going to secretly catch you off guard. That's how a lot of these people get murdered, because they're too loud. When you do this, the person who wants to take you out is not going to make a threat online. They're not going to even mention anything to you. They're going to catch you when you least expect it. And see, this man was so cocky because Gloria's husband had caught them so many times and he didn't do anything about it each time. He even took a photo of him. I'm going to show you a clip of a TikToker who had talked to some sources that were close to the family, and you'll hear from him, and he's going to show you a still shot of a photo that the husband took. And each time he had caught them together, he never, was violent. He didn't shoot him. He didn't hurt him. So this had built in Hector this sense of cockiness, like, haha, I got your woman. I'm about to take her. And if you step to me, I'd take you out too, bruh. So he didn't think that the husband had the huevos to do anything about it, because he had not done anything about it the entire year that they had been having this affair. And, he thinking because he's bragging about his body, he's showing up in all these fancy cars, living like he is the richest man on earth. Look at all the cars he's showing up. It's all lavish, and Gloria, being the gold digger that she is, she's eating it up. She's liking this video. She's like, wow, this is all I ever wanted. He's my next victim. I plan to get him to marry me. I'm going to suck him dry of everything he has, and then I'm going to discard him and go on to the next. That was her plan. She's saying he's showing her everything that she wants. And, again, he's cocky because the husband never did anything about it. So he wasn't really tripping off the husband. He's like flashing everything online. And we're going to go into these comments, but look at this particular comment here from this person. These people were going in. There are people eating these people up on the freaking social media. This person says, this guy did not own anything, rented houses, leased cars. I got a trophy girl that was married and cost him his life. Take notes, guys. Life is short. Stop trying to impress girls. They said, what kind of grown man posts a Javier's vlog? Laughing my ass off. But these are nice comments, because y'all, the comments were brutal. They said this post is probably what set the lady's husband off, because why did he tag her on this video if they were just business partners discussing a new gym opening? Right. She lied to her kids, telling her kids that this was her business partner. But in reality, he's tagging her. They going out to lavish dinners. They're having sexual escapades in the car, and you name it. Okay, he was slapping them cheeks, y'all. I'm just letting y'all know. Okay, this person says, damn, Hector, you had the money, the looks, and the ambition, and you settled for some chump change. You fell into her IG clout and paid the price for it. If you're a man reading this, don't let this happen to you. This person says, bro lost his life for a 2002 Altima with 7 engines and 10 transmission. Sorry. This person says, I honestly don't know why the incident. Oh, I don't want to put down because she don't know what's going on. Some of these people in Spanish, they were saying it. They said, that's why they don't mess with married people and don't do things. It was not a white dove, such Hector, bullying her husband, right? See, he was bullying her husband, taunting him, mocked on the networks, and the girl to have 16 years with her husband in 2 weeks asked for divorce, right? The moral of the story is do things right and end a relationship right before you go with another one, so you don't end up like this guy. Like, people are unapologetic about this, and the kids got to read this, y'all. This is the worst part about it. The kids got to read it. This person, and Thomas was the husband's name. So if you read Thomas, that's the husband. This person says, I met Thomas, and the truth was he not only a humble, hardworking man, but a provider. He's talking about Gloria's husband. Gloria didn't even bother to work. She certainly paid for some of her surgeries and support to 5 children who weren't even his. It's a shame that some women don't value that and always look to climb another branch that has more money. Now, she said some of these facts that are incorrect. Number one, there was 3 kids because 4 of the kids were biologically his. 3 of them were not. It was from a prior marriage. And then she did actually have a job, and she was a fitness businesswoman. So her job was that she was a manager for a medical clinic. That is what her daughter said. But she also had the, fitness, social media influencer job, or business basically. And she was trying to open up a fitness facility. So she had a bunch of different ways that she was making money. So she wasn't just like a stay-at-home wife. She was working too. She was hustling, like she said she does. This says this guy right here, this person is the cousin of Thomas, the husband of Gloria. He says, thanks, love. My cousin was a great man, and that puts something and full of surgeries besides seeing the asshole face to many women becoming fitness girl. Thomas said for the 14 surgeries, dang. So Thomas paid for 14 surgeries, y'all. Let's read that again. Damn. Thomas paid for the 14 surgeries. This woman had 14 surgeries. Dang, that's a lot. and stayed at my house. I had nothing natural, only demanded money. Okay, I think he means that she had nothing natural. Gloria had nothing natural, and she only demanded money from her husband. She said, we all said, this was the family of Thomas. They all said not to marry that bitch. They said she's used up with children of 4 different vats, and she has 22 and already has 4 different men. Dang. She had 4 different men. But he married her anyway, basically. I took her out of the street, and then, blah, 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 right? And this person has personal knowledge because he is actually related to the husband. Okay. So we'll get into the social media clips some more because I got to read these comments. The comments are brutal, y'all. But before I do that, let me play a couple of videos for you. Because first I want to show you what the news reporters were saying versus what people that were associated with Thomas, the husband, were saying. Because the news made it look like, when I first watched this on the news, and that's why I have not came out to talk about it because I wanted to wait till the full story came out. The news made it look like this woman was an angel from God, okay? That she was just trying to get out of this abusive relationship. This man had been taking advantage of her.
Instead of you being supportive,
this man had been taking advantage of her, and he was abusing her, and blah, blah, blah. And then he couldn't let her go because she was tired of being abused and being controlled. And so she was trying to get out of this horrible marriage. And, he killed her because he couldn't let go. But the family said a whole story. So let's look at what the news said first before we found out what was really going on.
Over here trying to just bring me down, tell me that I can't do this. You think you're all that? You think you're all that for you to go and work out and think that you can be on social media? Come on, man. You're not even all that. Look, you have all these stretch marks. Really? Do you really think you're all that you can do that?
His insecurities are yelling to you.
Yes.
His projection is real.
Yes.
He's trying to bring you down so you don't leave.
Yes.
But what he doesn't understand is that you're pushing me more away. You're making me secure in my decision of leaving.
So we begin at 4 o'clock today with that mother and popular fitness influencer killed by her estranged husband. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Colleen Williams.
And I'm Michael Brownlee. Her family says she and her business partner were killed outside of a restaurant in Fontana. And today we're hearing from her family for the first time. NBC4's Kristen Costa is live in Paris with their reaction. Christian.
That's right. Today we spoke to the oldest daughter of Gloria Zamora, who tells us they are still in shock over what happened. They say the mother of 7, she was a hardworking mother. In fact, she was actually wrapping up a business dinner when they say the stepfather opened fire. Then moments later, law enforcement killed him.
I miss my mom so much.
An emotional moment for 24-year-old Jasleen Zamora as she remembers her mother Gloria, who was shot and killed over the weekend. Her younger sister calling her hours later.
Papi shot mom and she's gone. And that's when I just started bursting in tears. It's very unbelievable. I didn't think I'll ever get a phone call that way.
This was a scene Saturday night where Fontana police say the 40-year-old mother and 43-year-old Hector Garduño were shot and killed as they were leaving a sushi restaurant on Summit Avenue. That day, Zamora says their mom had a busy schedule.
None of us got to see her Saturday morning. She was already gone for a business meeting. So she was going to go do a photo shoot and meet her business partner because they were going to open up a gym for women. That's when they went to go have their dinner.
And see, this is so sad because she sat there and lied to her daughter and her kids. And this is what she had been doing for so long. She would say she's going on these business meetings with her business partner when it was all a lie. She would be out with him all day, having sexual escapades, spending time together in romantic ways, taking photo shoots on his car naked or in bikinis in very compromised positions, as you can see on her Instagram. She lied again that day talking about, I'm going for a business meeting and we're going to have a little business dinner. when that was a whole lie. In reality, she was having an affair. So her daughter went on this interview thinking that she really thought her mom had, been meeting with the business partner when that was not what was really going on. And that's what made me so sad, because the daughter, says in the interview that it was just a business partner, but that was a lie that Gloria had been telling her children, and her husband had known the truth that they were really in a sexual, romantic, heated affair, that she was basically planning to leave Thomas for this new businessman who had all the money she wanted.
Police say the shooting caught the attention of several off-duty law enforcement officers in the area who responded. Among them was the San Bernardino County Sheriff Deputy. During the confrontation, police say Zamora's estranged husband, Tomas Alberto Tamayo Lizarraga, was shot and killed.
That's when my stepdad was very jealous. He's always been that way.
The family says their parents were together for over 15 years, but the marriage grew thin.
He's always verbally abusive to my mom, mentally abusive, emotionally abusive.
Zamora had a full-time job as a supervisor at a local medical clinic, but her kids say her passion was being their mom and fitness, becoming an online influencer with more than 156,000 followers. Now her biggest fans are coping with life without her.
I'm just waiting for her to walk in through the door and just tell us, just come in laughing with her huge laugh that she had. And it's just so hard.
And the family tells me the couple was finalizing their divorce, but they say they never imagined that their differences would escalate to this degree. Now, the children, who range in age from 8 to 24, they say they are now planning their mother's funeral service, but they're also looking for a way to fulfill her biggest dream.
What's up, everybody? This is Mr. 100K a day.
So that was Gloria's daughter and their family's side of the story. They basically were saying that Thomas, the husband of 16 years, was controlling. He was abusive. Gloria was not cheating. She was just out with a business partner who would have had this business meetings. And so that's what was portrayed in the news. And so everybody who first heard this story, they were thinking that Gloria was this innocent woman, who had been tired of being abused and had finally stood up for herself and decided to walk away from this very controlling, abusive man who had suppressed her from achieving her dreams and living a happy, fulfilling life. And that's what I thought when I first watched this. I was like, oh man, this is so sad. I mean, there were people in the comments saying she was such an inspiration to the Hispanic community. A lot of Hispanic women had looked up to this woman as a role model. They really looked to her as, a woman who could help them achieve their fitness goals when she had been living an entire lie. Her whole image online was a lie, from her whole physique to her marriage to everything that she said to her children. She lied to her children. She neglected her children. You see how the daughter talked about how she didn't even see her mother the entire day. And they were thinking that her mom was out working to achieve her dreams, not cheating on her husband, when all along Gloria was out having a sexual affair, an emotional affair with Hector, this rich businessman, and she could care less about her children. And some of the kids that called the father talking about how hungry they were. And that made, Thomas very angry and enraged because he loved his kids. And at this time, he wasn't living in the house. He was living with his cousin, as the cousin said in the Instagram clip or Instagram comment that I just read to you. That was the cousin. He was saying how Thomas was living with him. Well, Thomas was living with him at this time because he was hiding out because he didn't want to get deported, because Gloria had been threatening him, saying, I'm going to get you deported, because she was mad. That's why she called the police in the first place that last time. And it ended up backfiring on her, and she ended up being the one getting arrested for domestic violence. But anyway, so he was living with his cousin at the time, hiding out. But when the kids called him on the phone talking about how hungry they were, the mom had been gone all day, they hadn't seen her, he got pissed off even more. and he had been following her. Now, I don't know if he put one of those Apple AirTags on her car or what, y'all. But somehow, again, he knew every time she was with this man, because he ended up catching her that night that this fatal story happened about 2 weeks ago. He had followed her somehow, or had an Apple AirTag on her car. He followed her and her lover to the sushi restaurant. So while they were in there enjoying a nice thing of sushi with Mr. Hector here, her lover, okay, Mr. Sexy man, that's the rich guy, right? They were eating their little sushi and stuff. And so when they decided to walk out of that sushi restaurant, that is when Thomas decided to approach them. And by then, I don't think he was thinking with a rational mind. And I think he did go there with the intent to kill them, because he did bring a firearm with him, and there would be no need to bring a firearm, because as many times as he has caught them in vehicles and all these different times he saw them together and had been following them for over a year, this time he brought a gun. So we all know what was going on. And he came strapped with that gun because, like I told you, this man had been taunting him online, and he had been showing himself at the shooting range here, like he was this big tough guy. Let me get to that, back to that shooting range video. See, he had been posting all this. So Thomas had to come strapped. And again, when a person going to take you out and you bragging like this online, they're not going to let you know their next moves. So Thomas didn't say anything. He never know. I don't even think Gloria knew he had a gun, okay? I don't think she ever knew. But Thomas came there with murder on his mind. And when they walked out of that restaurant, there are sources. Now, I don't know if this is true. Some sources say that Hector was the first person to pull out his gun and shoot, but he missed. I don't know if that's true, because again, news outlets have not said that, but people in comments have stated that he was the first to shoot and ended up missing Thomas, and then Thomas shot in response, which I don't even know if that's what happened. But anyways, either way, Thomas shot Hector first, and Gloria took off running, and Hector chased her down and murdered her in cold blood. And as he murdered her, off-duty police officer heard the commotion, came over there, and ended up shooting Thomas. And I think Thomas did not want to go to jail. He did not want to go to jail, and he sure enough didn't want to get deported. So I think, this is my opinion. First, let me let you know. This is what I think happened. I think Thomas was going to kill himself regardless, but he decided to resist the officer and die by the officers killing him. So it was like more so like an officer type suicide. You know what I mean? Like, that's why he didn't surrender, because he was not trying to go to jail. This guy was not trying to go in jail. He was like, I'm going to take them out and I'm going to take myself out later. But when he got caught by the police, he just decided to let the police do it. That's what I humbly think happened. Okay. Now, again, like I said, the news reports made it look like this woman was innocent, and the family was like, the hell to the no, she is not. So they started talking, right? They started talking to different social media people, because they wanted to get Thomas's side out there and share what really happened, right? So,
huge new update on this.
There was this TikToker online, this guy here, who had ended up talking to real people that were involved on the side of Thomas. We heard Gloria's side. Her family spoke. The daughter told her side of the story, and then she told her side of the story on the podcast. But now let's hear from people who was on Thomas's side from this TikToker here.
Tragic story. Sit down, because this is going to shock you and it's going to take a little bit of time. So if you need to save this video and watch it again to take it all in, because it's that deep. So Gloria Zamora was unalive by her husband of 16 years, Tomas Tamayo Lizárraga, tragically yesterday at a Fontana, California sushi bar, as she walked out with a man who she claimed was her business partner, Hector Garduno, a 43-year-old father of four, very successful businessman. He was the owner of a construction company, owned many luxury cars, and as recently as April bought a very expensive vehicle. So he wasn't shy at all about displaying his wealth and making videos of himself paying for fancy clothes designer. So the tragedy in all of this is that 3 lives were ended needlessly. Both Gloria, Hector, as well as Tomas Lizarraga. I've received new information from a private source that knows the husband personally, and the story goes deep. Listen, these new allegations by a close source say that Hector wasn't just her business partner. He was in fact her lover. But before all of this, she was married to Tomas for 16 years. They had 3 kids together. Tomas worked his ass off for her and the kids. She had 3 other kids from a previous marriage. Allegedly, she was not happy with the way that she appeared, and he paid for all of her enhancements. She claims only a tummy tuck to her fans, but there's actually a list of things, a big one, with the source even going as far to allege that she even had a rib removed, and that's why her waist was so slim. The source alleges that it was in fact not a business meeting but a date, and this had been going on for months prior to this. Gloria Zamora claimed in a podcast that she had filed for divorce a year ago, but documents show that the first time she served him with divorce paperwork was 2 weeks ago, after he had caught her a previous time with Hector Ivan. He had gone to stay at a relative and was no longer living with Zamora. The family was extremely confused because he was there before this happened. And they would never see him doing something like this, as he was a loving father, hardworking man. He knew this relationship was going on, and sources say that this post was after he had caught them together, after he got served with divorce paper, and he felt that this caption was aimed at him. This is how I feel about the current situation, with the I don't care and the finger. As well as from other stories of Hector Ivan, he felt he was being taunted by a wealthy, influential man that was now dating his wife, allegedly. 16 years of marriage is a long time. 3 kids together is something huge. 2 weeks of being served, and it gets deep. He's seeing these posts from a man he feels is taunting him. He had just come back from taking their children to Disneyland. Meanwhile, Gloria and Hector shared story where they were together at a video shoot for her. And that morning she had left the kids to go do a shoot where Hector accompanied, and the kids were messaging him, "Where's mom? She's been gone all day. We're hungry." And he simply lost it. That this is according to the source, but I did some dig. Oh, and one more thing. She claimed that he had been physically abusive to her, but it seems like it's the other way around, as he was charged on January 11th of 2025 with infliction of corporal injury on spouse or cohabitant, which is basically DV. As you can see from the bottom, charge 273.5A. And allegedly the incident occurred because he was feeling something was wrong, something was going on, and he took her phone to check her phone, and she attacked him and then called the cops on him. Cops came, arrested her because he was all bruised up, allegedly. So it was interesting to see that she had been liking her post of himself working for quite some time. Posts with his daughter, posts of him like this, as you can see. Post of him brandishing firearm. He seems to be a Second Amendment advocate, to say the least. She was liking a lot of his posts where he showed houses, cars, himself working. And this goes all the way back to February 19th of 2024, with that one being the latest. The source alleges as well that in February she spoke to him about starting a Noel because she could make so much money. This is when she started claiming that he was a hater and holding her back. And this was sometime around February, correlated with this post that Hector Ivan actually liked. So he had been liking her posts for a while as well, even liking ones where she was talking about getting hate on social media, basically showing his support to her, where she spoke of being a mother. So they did have like a thing going on in the like. Usually you like certain posts for certain reasons. All that being said, what should have happened, it doesn't matter, should not have happened. There is no reason for something like this to ever happen. Doesn't matter what. But these are the circumstances, allegedly. I will keep you posted as more information comes up. More information keeps dropping. This is insane.
So we're gonna go over the other things that he talked about, but just going over that whole story that he got from the family was a mouthful, as you could hear. Like, my total jaw dropped when I heard him talk about this, what he heard from the family. I was like, damn, who would have known that husband had gone through all of that, and he had, And this is a story that really can speak volumes to you, that even some of the most calmly tempered people can lose their mind and snap. This can happen to any one of us. I think this message really screams to you that it can happen to any one of us. And we should just be careful about how we judge people, because sometimes we talk about these stories about people who have brutally murdered people, and you just think, what a horrible person they are. They're the worst scum of the earth. But you really don't realize that this can happen to any one of us. Any one of us. People that you might even know could one day snap and murder somebody. Period. That's why it's important to really, find out why, in the motive why someone has done something. Because I'm telling you, I don't think, in my humble opinion, based upon the people who have known Tom, could ever think he would ever do something like this. Like, even as you can hear this man talking about, no one believed that this hardworking, calm husband, as he, was, would one day lose his natural mind and kill this woman and her lover. But he had suffered for a full over a year, and he felt completely taken advantage of. Imagine you being a person who, you could have any woman you want, and you're a man who's single, you have no children, right? And you meet a woman who has 3 kids, she's divorced, and you lower your standards to take this woman into your home, and you be the bigger guy, and you become a stepfather to her 3 children who are not your own, right? And you take care of this woman, and you work night shifts, 10, 12, 11 hours to take care of this woman and her 3 children that are not yours. And you give this woman everything that she wants. You basically help her pay for 14 surgeries to basically restructure her entire body. And you buy her a car, you purchase a new home for her to live in. And you are with this woman faithful for 16 years straight. Now, again, this is his side. People on her side are saying that he was cheating on her too. Now, I don't know if that's true. That's what people on her side is saying. However, in Tom's side, they said that he was faithful, right? And imagine for 16 years you do all this, and this woman discards you like you are trash, and then further humiliates you by talking trash about you on a public social media platform that she reposts on her Instagram that has over, let's see how many followers she had. Has over 174,000 followers. 174,000 followers are listening to her trash talk her husband, saying he was verbally abusive. He never supported her in her dreams. He was controlling. He just was a horrible husband. And he has to listen to this and imagine in his mind how unappreciated he felt. And then he has to go day after day after day following this woman that he thinks, of the world of, and she's taunting around this wealthy man that she's in secret cars with, photographs, you name it. He's catching her on all these acts with this man. And the man's on social media taunting you with firearms, pictures of cars that you post on your Instagram. He turns around, posts the same kind of car to taunt you and say, I got the same car, and then turn around and flip you off in the photo. And imagine he has to see that his wife is taking these naked, compromised photos on the top of the same car that he has, but with another man. And they're in compromised situation for over a year. And you're taking care of 7 children. And your children are telling you, the father, that your wife is not home, has not fed you, you're hungry, the kids are hungry. Imagine what this man was going through. And you have to think about that, like, because I'm not saying what he did was right, but I'm saying every person has their tipping point. Every person. And we have to learn to not constantly, and don't, I'm not trying to blame victims, but, and this is not her, I'm not trying to blame her. I'm just saying we have to just be careful about the feelings of other people and don't take people for granted, because you don't know that what you're doing might end up being the last straw for somebody. But let's keep going, because this guy, he found out more information from the sources on the side of Thomas.
Caught them together already. Thomas caught Gloria Zamora with her lover, as you can clearly see here.
So the picture's dark, but you can see that Thomas actually took this picture. This is her, right, Gloria, right here. And this is Hector, and they're inside of a car at night. And he took this photo of them as evidence of her cheating.
Ivan sitting outside together in a car, his wife, the fitness influencer, and he wrote, "I found my esposa, la fitness influencer Gloria Zamora, inside a car with her lover." So he must have said like at like 2 or 3 in the morning. They were doing photo shoots together leading up to the incident that happened, where she was wearing scantily clad clothing, sitting on his car, and also in his car with the red seating. And it seemed like he was taunting him, saying things like this, F around and find. This allegedly is after he had caught them sitting in the car. Hector Ivan, the presumed lover of his wife, posting, "This is how I feel about the current situation." The extreme laughing face, the "I don't give up" with the finger. A father of 3 with this woman, had been with her for over 16 years, took her in from her last marriage, with whom she had 3 children with, allegedly paid for all her surgery, the money that he would have used to buy a house. Allegedly, she had more than just a tummy tuck, and there was a long list, including alleged rib surgery, all paid for by him. She wanted to become a model for that site, said how much money she could make around February. He didn't agree. She started calling him a hater, trying to stop her from growing. She went on a podcast, accused him of being unfaithful, of abusing her physically, but she was the one charged with spousal abuse, DV, and went to jail for this. So the most probable thing here, a crime of passion. This man lost it. 16 years down the drain. Wife started getting Instagram famous. Men like Hector Ivan started liking her picture post. She started liking his back. She liked his lifestyle. In her podcast, she said she wanted the boss life. She wanted more. The big house, the car. She saw Hector, business owner, fancy car, and they started seeing each other. The man taunted the husband. He lost. He allegedly received divorce papers 2 weeks ago, not a year ago. And we are where we are now. This tragedy could have been prevented. I wish this could have gone a whole different way, but this is a clear example of how there's always 2 sides to a story. F around and find out. So there's a...
Damn, y'all. Damn. So he continues to, like, he's going to give us different versions, but damn, that update right there was just jaw dropping. I was literally silent when I heard, I was like literally shocked, and tongue tied when this bombshell of information came out, even more kind of showing the whole entire kind of narrative, step-by-step situation and how it kind of led to the husband's overall crash out, of how post after post after post, the Hector is the wealthy side dude is posting these posts to taunt Thomas, and Thomas is going through a mental anguish, and then Gloria's over here obsessing over this wealthy guy, liking every post, putting these kind of like salivating emojis of like, oh my god, drooling emojis, like lusting after this man. And meanwhile her husband's seeing the entire thing, like he's seen everything. Now let's continue to go on, because he gets a little bit more information. Now he repeats a little bit of the information, but he kind of expands more based on the additional information he's getting from sources.
Much deeper part to this that has to do with what Latinos are going through today. Reportedly, her husband, her murderer, Tomas, did not have any papers. He was here when he shouldn't be in the state. She knew that. She was trying to get ice on him because of the incident where she went to jail in January 11th for the DV charges against him. Although that is public, allegedly what happened, is he got wind that she was stepping out and being faithful. Like something was going on. He felt it. So he took her phone, tried to go through. She instantly attacked her, took her phone back. She notified authorities. They came, and instead of taking him to jail, they took her to jail because he had bruises and lacerations from Gloria. And this is a communication that I received from a source, which I don't want to move my head to reveal everything. But the important part here says Gloria was trying to call ICE on him, so he was hiding after her domestic assault. You have to remember that they were still married, and the main one to blame here might just be the Sancho, the business partner. It is alleged that they were going into business to start her a fitness gym, but the husband had already posted that he had caught them together in the early hours of the morning, 1, 2, 3 in the morning, in a car together, where he says, encontré a mi esposa, la fitness influencer Gloria Zamora, dentro de un carro con su amante a las... And he had posted this on his thread. The man was actively taunting him. It is alleged by a close friend of the perpetrator. I mean, this could have all been avoided had all the parties been more considerate of one another. And this goes to everybody in the comments that keeps saying that he was somehow justified. I don't know where you guys get this idea from. What happened here is an abominable crime, and what this man did is unjustifiable. This is one of the sickest things that I have ever seen. Completely horrendous. And there is nothing that can vindicate human for what he did to these two souls. We are only shedding light on what happened in a way that is frankly done with any situation. And sometimes the truth as to what happened is not what we want to hear. And here's another truth. This woman made a comment on this post. This was the day of the shooting. This was also the day they did this lingerie shooting in the car. And the woman commented this under Hector's post: I met you and Gloria Saturday morning, the day you passed, when you came to Victoria's Secret where I work. I helped you guys pretty much from start to finish, and you guys were so nice and down to earth. I can't believe this happened, but so glad I at least got to meet you guys. My condolences to the families and especially the children. So then the conversation ensued with somebody asking, so they were a couple? Julie replies, I don't know, I assumed so when I met them, but after the article came out, I guess not. If you don't know which article, it was the article that they said they were business partners. That's exactly why there's huge confusion. Somebody says, nah, they were together. The article is just giving a different story. Julie replies, that's what I figured. Thank you. So to Julie, it seemed that they were more than just business partners. Remember that these are just allegations from Julie. The information I was given points to him have been seeing that man's wife for quite some time. My information said, allegedly, that he had caught them multiple times together. Nothing, absolutely nothing can justify.
Damn, guys, I was absolutely, woo! When I heard that, I was speechless. Speechless. Hector had been taking this woman to Victoria's Secret to get lingerie, acting like they were lovers and a couple, buying this lingerie. And this woman who's selling the lingerie to him at Victoria's Secret is under the impression that they're a couple. So they were going around in broad daylight, boldly going to Victoria's Secret to get lingerie. Imagine, I'm pretty sure Thomas was following them around and saw this too. And she they took this lingerie and took these very seductive photos of Gloria on Hector's car that he had posted on Instagram. Absolutely just jaw-dropping. So horrible and inconsiderate of this woman to not care about the husband who was devoted to her for 16 years, man, took advantage of this man in all ways and had no regard for him nor her own children. It was like she put this rich man on a pedestal and forgot about her 7 children, forgot about the man that had been devoted to her for 16 years. And in my opinion, all she cared about was in this situation herself. That's all she cared about. And that to me is like the most high level of selfishness you can get. Now, again, like this man is going to say here, nothing justifies what happened. But we have to understand every human has a limit. All of us do. And we all have to be humble to that reality that what honestly, no matter how much of a believer in Christ or religious or whatever you think you are, character-wise, you and I could end up being in the same situation like this and lose our mind and end up snapping. Everybody has their tipping point. It doesn't make it right, but it's just a reality that everyone reaches that breaking point. And yeah, we should be able to control our emotions, but sometimes that's why there's crimes called crime of passion, because even people who have established the law in America understand that every person reaches their breaking point. And had this guy stayed alive, he could have probably presented that claim in trial that, he murdered them in a crime of passion, that he had lost his mind and blacked out. Because I think that's what happened. This man was a mild-tempered man, according to his family. They never, ever imagined him to do something so horrific. And yet he did. This was something that people didn't predict because they don't realize that's human nature, that people lose their mind. And that's why I always try to keep a humble perspective as it relates to every human being and give people grace. Now, I'm not saying what he did was right. I'm not saying Thomas is this angel. I'm not saying any of that. I'm trying to just be realistic that everybody has a tipping point. All of us could end up one day ending up in that situation. Like, I can speak personally for myself. I have a friend of many years who was a really sweet guy. I would never imagine him to, break the law or do anything wrong. He just seemed like this very amazing guy. He was, he had a wife, kids. He was very kind all the time, very helpful. And just recently, guys, I found out that this man had murdered someone recently and now is in jail. And this is somebody I know. I never would imagine, never in a million years would imagine this guy finding out that he's now in jail for murder. And that to me really kind of made me humble myself and think, after being an attorney for over 11 years and used to be a criminal prosecutor, and I would prosecute criminals all the time, murderers all the time. And as a criminal prosecutor, we're trained to look at criminals as they're not human. We look at them as the defendant. And that's why you'll notice in trials when prosecutors are advocating in court and at trial, they never say the criminal's name. They will identify him as the defendant, because what they want to do is dehumanize him in the eyes of the jury. And they want to make the jury feel as though this person is a monster. They don't want you to look at him as a human. So they'll never treat him like that in court. They will always say the defendant, the defendant, the defendant. Watch a trial, a criminal trial, and listen clearly to how the prosecutor addresses the suspect who is being charged with a crime versus how the defense attorney will. The defense attorney, what they're going to do is they're not going to call him the defendant. They're going to call him by his government name. And they're going to tell the jury the backstory of who he is as a human, what his occupation was, how many kids he had. Because what the defense agenda is to humanize him in front of the jury. And they want the jury to see him as a human, just like them, who makes mistakes. Because they're trying to garner that human emotional empathy from the jury so that they can see him as a human who made a mistake. So again, you have to look at that. And after seeing what my friend did, and now he's in court for murder, or in jail for murder, it made me realize, we're all human and we have this tipping point. You have to ask yourself, what is that tipping point inside of you? And you have to kind of get ahead of it and think, well, if I were to be put in a situation like this, and I don't want to end up dead or in prison because I snapped, what can I do to de-escalate a situation so that I don't end up in a situation like this, which is why this story is so important to tell. But now this man is going to go on and he's going to tell us additional information that he got from the family.
What this man did, it's absolutely horrendous. So this is a side of the story that nobody has told, which is Hector's side. He met her at the gym after coming back from a trip from Peru. He had been through a relationship, someone who might have used him for what he could offer. He was a wealthy guy, a guy doing very well for himself and his family. From what I heard, he was a great father to his kids. And I do not think that's an exaggeration. It's highly probable that Gloria did not explain to him that she was still either on and off or still living with her husband, Tomas. The situation that led to the domestic violence charge, where she physically her husband, where she was arrested for aggravating him, attacking him, because he had found her speaking to someone else on her phone. That was not Hector. Gloria had told Hector that she and Tomas were separated for 2 years. It was a lie according to sources. This is one of the messages that she had sent him. It says, "Me and you, I don't know, think about it, LOL." Possibly implying that there could be a couple like this. And Hector, he wanted love and he went with it. She replied, "I want to, baby, but you are too good to be true," and reacted to his story where he's driving around in the new G-Wagon he had purchased. She put a heart eye emoji. She possibly lied to him. And when the husband caught them together, Hector was unaware. But
Bingo. You remember, you just seen how he said that when Gloria messaged Hector, she said, "I like you, but you're too good to be true." Well, because Hector, I told you, he was posting all these thirst traps because after he had listened to all the desires of Gloria, she's telling him, you know, what she wants in a man. He basically used his social media to paint this picture of being that very dream man that she wanted. So he posted the lavish cars, the lavish rich lifestyle. He posted pictures of him catering to his daughters and saying how he's a girl's dad, using the very same words that she used to admire him on a prior comment on his Instagram account. And that's why she said he was too good to be true, because this man literally was also painting himself in a way on his Instagram to basically satisfy everything that she told him she wanted in a man, from posting pictures of him with firearms because she probably wants a tougher guy because she felt like maybe her husband wasn't the protector type, to posting him in the gym all the time. Again, something that she was, very passionate about. She wanted to be this fitness role model to women who had been trying to get their prior body back before they were before they gave birth to their children. And she wanted a man who could cater to her financially. And you notice how she was liking these videos that showed all the assets that he had, from the cars he was driving to the rich lifestyle that he was living in, the fitness videos. And like I said, so I feel like they both were guilty in this, because Hector was using his social media to seduce this woman further and basically paint this picture that he was the perfect guy for her, which is why she said to him in that text message that this man showed, is that she felt he was too good to be true, because in reality, he was just painting an illusion for her to get her to continually to be drawn to him. You know, he's flaunting around his riches and his wealth, his looks, his strength, his toughness from his, firearms and music, and everything on his social media is all, in my opinion, all designed to draw this woman in. And I'm not saying she's innocent, because she, again, was looking for her next victim, a man who had all the financial assets and wealth, and a man who's willing to take in now her 7 children now, because they would end up, if they were to got together, they would have her 7 children and his 5 girls. So that would be a Brady Bunch for sure. How many kids is that, y'all? Y'all do the math. I think it's like 12 kids. That's a lot of kids. Okay, so it was a lot going on, okay? They're both over here doing this, and all these messages are exposed because the husband was keeping track of all of this. All of it.
Hector is a guy that isn't scared to defend his own, to defend himself. And he posted this because he might have been caught off guard by this whole situation that he was now involved in. And finally, this is a message that Mayo posted after he found them together at night and deleted this shortly after.
And this still shot is what I read to you guys at the beginning of this live. He posted this on his Instagram. And this is an account, and I read this to you before. He was saying, protect your gym facility from fitness influencer like this with no moral on them. And he posted this because he had basically saw that podcast, the one I just showed you, of her trash talking him, bashing him, talking about how he's this controlling, verbally abusive husband who won't allow her to pursue her dreams. So he was so enraged and hurt by that. He posted this in a fit of anger and had not thought so much about it. So when he posted it, he then turned around and deleted it. So this is the one where he said that she didn't have self-respect. He tagged her as Gloria Zamora on video with her lover cheering on her actual husband's. Sorry, cheating. He meant cheating. He was so hurt he was doing typos. He wasn't thinking when he wrote this. So he meant cheating on her actual husband, 16 years of marriage with Hector Ivan, 1942. Again, that was his user account. So he knew about this. He said influencer Escrabada Suedol. I don't know Spanish, y'all. Okay. He said, I am the current husband of Gloria Zamora, fitness influencer, and I have a true story to tell. I found out that she is being unfaithful to me with another person. There are many podcasts that support women for their achievements, but they should also expose how other women cheat and lie to be able to move up in this work environment. I paid for her BBL surgeries, and she injected body fat into the upper part of her buttocks. And again, Gloria is a very clever liar, because if you recall, she said that she didn't get a BBL, but she strategically and sneakily said in that same sentence, basically, that she had gotten a lift. So she just lied. It wasn't just a lift of her butt. She had injected fat into her butt. Body fat is what he's saying that he paid for. And he said she looks completely full so she could start her business as a fitness influencer. Again, start a whole lie. So she got all these surgeries to scam and deceive her followers. And that's how she blew up actually on Instagram. When after she got this surgery, she started posting these workout videos, making it look like she had been achieving all this in the gym when she did not achieve one shred of that fitness body from the gym. It was all surgeries. He said he paid for the BBL surgeries, y'all. He paid for all that. He said, I realized that she is being unfaithful in our marriage. She is cheating on me with her lover for money. She traded her family for an economic position, and it is not acceptable to me that she is doing this to me. I do not deserve it. In our marriage, I helped her raise 3 children from her 2 past marriages. Oh, and he says 2 past marriages. Remember on the podcast, and you got to watch the podcast, she claims it was 1 past marriage. She claims that she had married one guy before Tomas, and that he had been cheating on her while she was, giving birth to his different children and stuff. And so she divorced him because he had cheated, but that was a lie. Again, this woman had been lying all on the podcast the week before she was murdered. When in reality, she actually was married 2 times before. That's what the husband is exposing, all the lies that she said on that podcast. He said I bought her a new car. I helped her buy her house. Damn, he bought her house. And I helped her operate on her body. I have 3 children with her. And it seems unfair to me that she lies to get ahead and does not tell the truth. I have a story that I think what's happening to me happened to her other partners. When she starts a new out of convenience, she's going to say she's not with the partner anymore so she can start cheating on him because with her new lover. I need help. He was trying to get help before he had ended up murdering her and her lover because he was almost to his breaking point a week before this happened.
I would leave it here to keep this short, but this is new alleged information from a close source. The Hector Ivan woman that interviewed Gloria Zamora about her divorce reached out to me today for the information that I have put out, given to me by sources very, very closer than her to this whole situation. And in doing so, allowed me to tie a lot of the things the information that I was getting to what she says, and it actually being probably true. The most concerning part to me is that she verified, one, that he did reach out to people, like he said, when he caught Hector Ivan and Gloria out together late at night. He tried to reach out to everybody, speaking about his wife's cheating on him, about him having paid for surgery, and basically getting her to where she was now, supporting her in essence.
He did. He reached out to me trying to expose. He reached out to me and my production team. He reached out to a lot of people, actually. He reached out to all the gyms that Gloria was going to. He reached out to multiple sources. Obviously, that it's everywhere, right? And let me tell you this. He was very calculated and very convincing because that's what they do. They manipulate He was trying to be heard. He is on multiple platforms that had anything to do with Gloria, spreading his message of he is the husband of so and so, and what you guys have seen, okay? And the reason why I didn't take that in is because I know the truth. It was already spoken to me about it.
Here she verifies that they were in fact caught by Tomas in the early hours of the morning together.
When he took his kids to Disneyland, before he stalked and tracked and harassed Gloria and Hector and confronted them and did the video of this is Gloria, the influencer, and her amante. Are we not looking at
the nerve of this podcast host talking about he stalked and harassed? First of all, how is he stalking and harassing Gloria when that is his wife of 16 years? He has every single right, in my humble opinion, to follow her everywhere she go if he's in a legal marriage with this woman who is his wife. So that part just kind of rubbed me the wrong way because I'm like, girl, bye. How are you talking about he stalked and harassed? That's his wife. He has a right to know what his wife is doing, especially when she's out here cheating on him for over a year.
Aquí Gloria, la acabo de mirar que está con su amante. Ya la torcí. La influencer que está con su amante. Yep. Ahí está el guy. Aquí Gloria, la acabo de mirar que está con su amante. Ya la torcí. La influencer que está con su amante. Yep. Ahí está el guy.
So as you can see this video, this was a video that Gloria's husband took. And if you look at the top of this video here, you can see it has his username from Instagram. It says Tamiles7177 18 minutes ago. So he posted this in his story on his Instagram to expose her. And he went to the car where she was in the car with her lover, and he videotaped them, and he was telling his viewers, look at my wife here. You know, she's in the car with her lover who she's cheating on me with. And, and I'm catching her and, what she had done. So he had posted this on his Instagram to expose her for what she really was doing. But you notice here, as he's videotaping her, Hector and Gloria, of course, they saw him doing this. But at this time, he didn't shoot them. He didn't harm them, right? And he had been catching them multiple times, and he had never shot them and harmed them. So the night of the murder, I don't think Hector expected or Gloria expected for him to murder them because, again, Thomas had been catching them multiple different times in cars and other places, and he had not done anything violent to them. So, again, they just thought it was just another similar incident where the husband's following them around. And, again, the person who did the interview of Gloria is trying to act as though this man does not have a right to follow his wife. It's not like this woman, it's not like Thomas is just some random dude. He's following his wife to see what she is doing because she is not being loyal to him, and she has been lying repeatedly to this man.
Wow.
They were living together still. Essentially, he was still taking care of her, still paying the mortgage, still paying the bills. A source told me he was about to buy her a car. That's why she had not filed the divorce papers months ago. She did it now. She had gotten in a car accident and was reportedly driving one of Ivan's cars. She has given me enough reason to believe that both Gloria and Hector knew what they were doing, and what they were doing is stepping out on a husband that has been there for 16 years. She also...
Dang, that's messed up. I don't know if you guys heard that clearly, but what he was saying was Gloria was driving one of her lover's cars around. That is so jacked up because Thomas had already bought Gloria a car, but instead of driving the car that her own husband of 16 years spent his blood, sweat, and tear money on to buy her, she is driving around her lover's car. And imagine how Thomas is feeling watching his wife drive around another man's car. That is crazy, guys. Absolutely crazy. And I'm just ashamed of this girl here who's over here defending this woman when, again, Gloria sat there and fooled her on her podcast, making herself look as though she was this victim in all these different relationships. And basically all these men had done her wrong, when in reality, this woman was, in my humble opinion, a gold-digging, cheating wife who had repeatedly left man after man after man after she had sucked them dry of all the financial resources that she wanted from them.
Spoke about the DV charge, that it was in fact real, but that he was the aggressor, even though she went to jail. But Bella Rowe reached out to me. Instead of giving me information that I can use to update the conversation, she just tried to use like emotional manipulation to make me speak falsely about the truths that the sources that I am receiving this information from have given me with actual proof. And I think that's a disservice, because no matter what the husband did was a horrendous, disgusting act and is unjustifiable. This is only shedding light as to what happened here, what really happened. She says she knows what really happened, but I have not heard it. And if I do, I will make sure to update the videos. But a source left me with this that's very clear.
That's funny. Everybody that's defending her and him don't have no facts, don't got no paperwork, don't got no pictures. All they got is what she was telling them. Just like she had all her family fooled and everybody else fooled. Her whole image was a lie. She claimed she only had a tummy tuck. 27,000 worth of surgery.
So I'm getting a ton of information from all sides of what exactly happened here. Let me say again, there is no justification for what this vile man did in his, whatever you want to call it. It's a horrendous act, and it truly breaks my heart for everybody involved on every side. That being said, a close source gave me a picture of what happened. Tomas was with Gloria for 16 years. He worked 16 hours a day, was undocumented. He was paid minimum wage for a long time, busted his ass, and he was able to buy them a home, finally, a 2-bedroom apartment for 7 kids, 4 of which were his. He paid for Gloria's surgery, basically busted his ass while she made her dream of being an influencer. The source is not trying to say that what he did was despicable or...
Damn, did I hit that correctly, guys? Did he just say he works 16 hours a day? Did I hear that right? Let me know in the chat if y'all paying attention. Y'all quiet, mighty quiet. But anyway, 16 hours, and he, dang, supported this woman and the 7 kids in an apartment. That is just messed up, y'all. This man reached his maximum tipping point. At this point, I don't even blame the guy. How much could this man take? I mean, yeah, he could have walked away, but damn, he did it. She did him dirty.
In the most egregious way, the most cowardly thing that you could do. They are simply trying to say that he is not the man they portrayed him to be, that he had a lapse of judgment because of the situation that transpired. In no way, shape, or form do they justify this man's action, and they are mad at this human for what he did. They are angry because they know him, and he was a hardworking man, a provider. And when he started noticing that his wife was stepping out, reportedly he would drive home one time and she was driving in front of him and she turned a different direction instead of going home. He followed her. They got into an argument after she pulled over and said, "Why are you fucking following me?" And he said, "Well, our home is that way and it's late. Where are you going?" He caught them late at night in the video that has previously been shown, and he was asking, why is this guy, first of all, why are they together in a car? My wife that's living together with me still, we're not divorced, we're not going through a divorce with me still. And he's in sandals, he's laughing at me. Then he's making posts taunting. He's paying all the bills still. He's paying the mortgage. He's about to buy her a car. But then she hits him with the divorce papers. She went on podcast and made him look like he was a very bad person, physically, mentally, emotionally abusive. This must have infuriated the guy. 16 years and she's moving on. She's blowing up. He was jealous. jealous or angry, however you want to see it, or has nothing to do with what he did, which is not justifiable at all. This is just painting a picture of what might have led him to do this, what might have set him off to be crazed and deranged. His woman leaving with another guy that's much more wealthier, flaunting his wealth, his money. He had just mustered up the courage to leave his old job of 16 years and start his own business. Reports that she had crashed her vehicle and was now driving one of his cars. This is what he was seeing in his head. He was blocked off social media by her about 2 or 3 weeks ago. It set him off. He wasn't strong enough. The reality is that they were still living together. She had filed for divorce 2 or 3 weeks or 4 weeks prior. She went on a podcast with this woman, Bella Rose, and close sources feel that this is what set him off. The inaccurate portrayal of him and their relationship on this podcast, because he had been a family man for 16 years. He had helped her through everything, and seeing his marriage fall apart, he reached out to her with proof. She ignored him, as she says.
He did. He reached out to me trying to expose. He reached out to me and my production team. He reached out to a lot of people, actually. He reached out to all the gyms that Gloria was going to. He was trying to be heard. He is on multiple platforms that had anything to do with Gloria, spreading his message of he is the husband of so-and-so, and what you guys have seen, okay? And the reason why I didn't take that in is because I know the truth. It was already spoken to me about.
So possibly this could have somehow been prevented. She has yet to share the truth that she knows. She did block me after a conversation we had, but she now unblocked me and is possibly looking at my posts, but I'm sure she will block me again. She also said this.
Y'all are literally upset that a woman wanted a healthier, more peaceful, supportive.
Dang, guys, that was a lot, right? It was a lot that we could take in. And the more and more I hear the full story about what allegedly happened, as sad as it is, and I'm not condoning murder, the more my heart feels empathy for Thomas. Like, I literally can feel his soul of pain through reading his long post, and just how also noticing how biased that podcast interviewer was. If she's really this interviewer, she should have allowed Thomas to come on her podcast so he could share his side. But it seems like she just believed this woman over the husband and didn't give him a chance to share his side. If Gloria had the opportunity, and this is how any reporter would treat a story, they would give both sides the opportunity to share their side. She allowed Gloria to go on her podcast, blast her husband, saying how horrible he was and, verbally abusive, jealous, all these things. But she didn't allow Thomas to go and share his side. She just immediately just kind of shot him down, saying he's just a manipulative guy. And it just made her come off as biased and not willing to see two sides to the story, because everybody already knows there's always three sides to a story. There's one person's, there's his side, her side, and there's the truth, right? So if we're trying to get to the truth, you want to hear all aspects of the story and not really take a side. And again, I'm not really taking Thomas's side, because Thomas, he could have manned up, left her, and moved on. But I think there was just so much hurt over a 16-year marriage, him taking in her 3 children, him financially providing, working at 16-hour shifts. That's a lot to take care of her, move her into her own house, buy her car, pay for 14 different surgeries on her to reconstruct her entire body. And he just felt completely shamed and just taken advantage of, used, mistreated, and discarded like a piece of trash. Like he had given his over almost 2 decades of his life to this woman, had given up, the chance. And a man has an opportunity to be with any woman they want, but he gave up all of that to be with a woman who had 3 children. And again, I'm not saying it's wrong to have kids and move on and have a relationship. I'm just saying sometimes a lot of times men want a woman that they can start with a clean slate. And, a lot of them don't want to have women with children. And I'm not saying that's a good thing, but I'm just saying that's just the mindset of a lot of men. But he just felt like, man, I had done all this for her, like my wife, and I just feel completely betrayed in the worst way. and this man's taunting me online. She's loudly and boldly parading this other man around like he's better. She's driving his car. She's in, I'm catching her, and she just doesn't even care. Like, he's videotaping her right in front of her in the car with her lover, and she doesn't even flinch. She stays in the car with the man as if, her husband is a piece of trash on the ground. Like, and then she's neglecting the 7 children, leaving them at home starving, and the kids are, talking to their dad saying, Mom doesn't feed me because she's too busy on a business meeting with her business partner, when in reality, she's actually out with her lover, and she's being flaunted around, in this lavish lifestyle after she has drained her husband dry of 10 years and sucked him dry of everything that she wanted from him. So, like, it's just sad, but I want you guys to read these disturbing comments, because y'all, people in the comments to me are horrific. Like, it to me, literally, my jaw drops when I was reading the comments. I couldn't believe how brutal they were on both of these people's pictures, y'all. They were going in on Hector and on Gloria. Let's just read some of them. I'm not going to read all of them because it's crazy, but let's just start here. She said, rest in peace, Thomas. You deserved better than a 304, which they mean is a hoe, basically. This person says, condolences to the estranged husband. May he rest in peace. Everybody's siding with Thomas. This person says, also, she was in the middle of a divorce with him, which was taking a while because they owned property together. And again, this is property that he bought. I don't know what she was doing with her money, but it seemed like Thomas was using his hard-earned money to support the family. I think she was probably keeping the rest for herself. I don't know. And this person says, that's exactly what the F I said. Oh my God, this is dark and sick as AFF. This person says she has 7 kids. 2 of those kids are twins. So your math isn't mathing. Are you saying the twins have 2 different dads? I hate when, okay, this person doesn't know what's going on. Let's try to read some more. They said, you do not marry a woman who posts half-naked provocative photos online of herself. This person is clapping in condolence of what the girl said. They said, everyone is blaming the victim. They said, these people in these comments have no decency. They were just going in. I'm trying to get to all the comments, and this thing is not going to let me because it keeps going back. These are people that were praising her. But let's see what else. They said, they're not going to let me get to it. Okay, said she cheated and got 2 dudes smoked. Damn. She said, shouldn't have cheated. They said, all I see is surgery. They said, don't cheat. Sell her designer bags and shoes for the funeral. Damn, those people are brutal, y'all. This is not even the tipping point of how horrible they were on these comments. They said 7 kids and not one photo of any of them. Shaking my head. See, she wanted to be just this fitness and not even and hide her life. Like I said, she had 2 different images of herself. On Facebook, she painted this picture as a family woman. She posted family pictures of all 7 of her kids. She posted holiday pictures at Christmas with her and the extended family and the children and her husband. And she shared pictures of her husband on his birthday and talking about how amazing husband he is. She even had her marital name on her Facebook. So she had this different picture on Facebook, right, of this family woman who loves her kids. But on Instagram, you didn't see not one photo of a child in that thing. You didn't see not one photo of her husband. She wanted to paint this image as this single badass woman that is gorgeous. That's this icon that has the goddess body. And she did not post one photo of her family. You see how she had 2 different lives that she was trying to portray? It's crazy, right? This person says, after finding out the truth, how can I get my money back from the GoFundMe that I gave? Damn. Yeah, so her 7 children, they did a GoFundMe to try to pay for her funeral. And now people are like, after they found out the real side, because again, the news painted this picture of this beautiful family mother who had been abused and was trying to escape her abuser, right? So people felt sorry for her and they started giving into a GoFundMe that her daughter had put up. And I'm not saying I feel so bad for the kids. And I honestly think people should still pay for the GoFundMe because the kids, they can't afford this. And we want to help the kids out because it's not the kids' fault. Now they don't have a mother or a dad. So sad. Actually, 3 of the kids still have a living dad who was estranged the prior husband, but at least 4 of the kids don't have either parent anymore in this world. So I still feel sorry for the kids, but that's just crazy that people are like, I want my money back from the GoFundMe. Dang, that's crazy, right? Then this person says, after I just watched the podcast she did with Horizon on YouTube, she had an awesome story of strong work ethic and resilience. Stop jumping on this bandwagon and get the story straight. Don't judge. This man was unhinged and didn't know how to let go. She was a good mother. You all are here making unkind comments, shaking my head. This marriage was over. She was building her life business. Okay, that's one side. That's what her family wanted to paint, right? This person says, I remember Gloria from ELAC like 20 years ago. She was a young mom working full time and going to school, trying and to better herself and her family. Rest in peace. This person says, followers is not an influencer. You guys throw this influence, the word around like anybody that tells somebody do something makes an influence. This person says, I feel like this woman was selfish. 7 kids, no photos. Rest in peace. This person says, stop cheating. This person says, poor dude was trying to get some, kitty cat and got caught up with in the mix. Never date recently divorced or not finalized divorced women with multiple baby daddies and 7 kids. Damn, these people are brutal. They said, you sound stressed, son. That little man syndrome getting the better of you. Dudes needs to front. Oh, this guy doesn't know what they're saying. They said, more than you'll ever have in your fantasy life. This person says, proof that 170,000 followers never supported her in the beginning and even in the end. 304's IG model should learn from this. Damn, these people are brutal. They said people need to stop coming on here and shaming her. So they're defending her. You don't know the real story. The story has 4 sides, hers, her husband, and the other guy. But then there's the truth. At this point, only God knows what's happened and why it did. This girl has kids on here watching these horrible comments. Y'all are leaving. And it's true. The kids want to come to this Instagram to memorialize their mother that they lost. Like, you seen how distraught her older daughter was, saying how she misses her mom's laugh, her loud laugh, how she comes home. She's just hoping and praying she can hear her voice again. So like, these kids did lose their parents. So I can't even imagine writing such horrible things on her Instagram, because the kids have to read this in the midst of trying to mourn the loss of their mother. It's crazy to me, right? This person says, please let this poor woman rest in peace. At the end of the day, it's about those poor babies now, left without parents, and the other girls without father. Oh, let's not read this part because she doesn't really know what's going on. TikTok full story. This person said she was a beautiful person and inspiring. They said, don't care about the backstory. No one but God has a right. Has a right. They said, oh my God, I lost people. What's the true story? What is everyone talking about? And they say, rest in peace, Thomas. That's the husband. A lot of them are defending Thomas. They said, I don't understand. Why doesn't this influencer post anymore? Because she died, bro. They said she was killed and shot by her ex-husband. They said she was cheating. She is now somewhere she can't cheat. And they laugh about it. These people are horrible. And again, I'm not even touching the surface of how brutal these comments are. Actually, I'm going to read to you the ones that I screenshot on my phone, because you won't be able to see it because I'm not going to be able to show it to you. But the ones I screenshot on my phone, because these were like brutal, but I don't have time to try to find them. Actually, let me try to go to Hector's. Where's Hector's social media? Let's try to go to Hector. This story's crazy, guys. It's so like overwhelming, but it's such a good life lesson. Like, it's crazy. I didn't know how deep it went when I first heard about the story, but I'm glad I waited to cover this one because of how crazy it is, right? So anyways, let me see if I can find it on here, because people are saying crazy stuff on his. And again, I didn't touch the surface of how horrible the comments are. Those that I showed you were actually the nice ones. These people were going ham. They were going in. As I was reading it, I was like, I felt like my soul leave my body. How crazy. I was shocked. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they're saying this on these people's thing. Oh my God. This person says Thomas was much better looking. So they're talking about the husband. They said, did you hear how she said something along the lines of bum ass apartment? Like meaning she was not happy with her apartment that he got her. Dang, her husband got her apartment and she's complaining about the apartment. That's messed up. This person says, shaking my head, roasting him on social media. She saw homeboy had a house and wanted that. So she's roasting her husband. She's shaming her husband on social media. And she's looking at another man who she thinks has more financially. This person says, actually, he got her out the trenches. He got them an apartment and then recently bought her a $600,000 house on Paris. Shaking my head. Dang, he ended up buying her house. Dang. Wow. This person says, LOL, you know Sancho was clapping it on the side, was going on for a while. Dang. This person says, poor children, 40 years, 7 kids. What was her mindset? Irresponsible mother. That's how she looked like to me, like she was so focused on getting a man that had money than her kids. This person said divorced 2 times. They say, glad she got what she deserved. Oh my God, that's horrible, right? Also glad he is gone as well. Should have found someone who was not still married. That's just straight up. See, this is horrible to say such things. I'm like shocked that someone would be that horrible to say that on a post. This is crazy. I don't know how people can be so bold enough to celebrate death when all of us are going to end up dying one day. Like, dude, you're going to end up dead one day too. And how do you feel somebody saying this stuff about you online? It's just crazy. This person says this post is probably what set the lady's husband off, because why did he have to tag her on the pic photo if they were just business partners discussing a new gym opening? This person said, what was the ex-husband's handle? And then they have this is his handle here. We actually should go to his handle. Let me copy that because that's his we'll have to copy this and go there eventually. They say, wait, all 3 of them died? And yeah, they did. It was pretty tragic. I couldn't believe it. This person says, damn, Hector, you had the money, the looks, the ambition, and you settled for some chump change. You fell into her IG clout and paid for the price for it. If you're a man reading this, don't let this happen to you. This person says, they wasn't bullying my guy. They were taunting him, and they found out Thomas was with the shits and was not about to be bullied by Buddy. And they say right here, sorry to disappoint you, but what do you call sending sex videos to Thomas then? I saw the message, the videos, and heard the WhatsApp audio. Dang. I said, que, don't be lying ass. Damn. This is crazy, guys. Whoa, I've never seen anything like this where I know people trash talk people who get killed, but this was on another level. They said, bro lost his life for, I already read this one. Some of these are repeated. Dios, I want to see what they're saying here. They said, God forgive me for laughing, but this commentary, I can't. Dang, how could you laugh at somebody who got murdered? Dang. They said it was his fault for telling another man that he was going to kill him over a hoe. Dang, so they're saying he threatened this man. They're saying he threatened the husband. Dang. And this is the cousin. This cousin said, this is the cousin of Thomas, the husband. He said, I will tell you something. Her piece of shit daughters went to... Oh, did he say that? Whoa, that's crazy. How could they say... Guys, these people have no soul. Anyway, they said, I will tell you something. Her piece of shit daughters went to every single newspaper and lied about the situation to get sympathy from people. Whoa. So no sympathy, especially since Gloria was thinking of prostituting the 18-year-old on OnlyFans. Damn. So her and Hector would benefit. I do know the situation because the puta was my cousin. Damn. So this person has a lot of credibility. This person has a lot of credibility because he is the actual cousin of Thomas. So he knew the inside information. And he's saying that Gloria was about to prostitute her 18-year-old daughter on OnlyFans for money. Damn, this story gets worse and worse. The more information that you read in these comments, it's like, damn, this is crazy work. Oh my God. This person says, I'm sorry for what you and your family are going through, and I understand your frustration. My intention was not to hurt anyone. I was only thinking in your cousin's kids and other minors. I didn't think the ages of anyone. That's all. My comment wasn't about taking anyone's side, just their kids. Since people are commenting a lot of hate and their dad wasn't here to protect them from all this chaos. And then we'll just keep going. This person says, it will not be easy for real. Them, because they went to 90 different newspapers to lie and talk shit. So this cousin of Thomas is mad at Gloria's kids because they're saying that the daughter had been lying, telling the newspapers a lie and making it look like Thomas was an abusive husband and Gloria was a faithful wife who just was trying to, pursue her dream of being a fitness instructor and open up a fitness facility, but with her business partner. And this cousin saying, no, the kids are lying, basically, and talking shit about his cousin. He said, didn't let us see the body. Dang. He said, didn't let us see the body, talking about his cousin. So no, I don't fucking care if they get dragged in the bud and become homeless. It's, oh my God, this cousin's ruthless. Thomas's cousin is ruthless. He said he don't care if the kids end up homeless. Dang. Oh my God, this is horrible. People are crazy. He said, it's very simple. You reap what you sow. So if they wouldn't have been going around and them getting into fights with us and their refusal to let us see Thomas, whoa. So they're in this fight with Gloria's kids. And I guess the Gloria's kids said that Thomas's family couldn't see the body, I guess. But that doesn't make sense. If they're Thomas's family, they should have the right to see the body. I don't know how they have authority to do that. But anyway, they're saying getting into fights with us and the refusal to let us see Thomas, I would have some kind of sympathy. But at this time, I don't care what happens to them. Gloria was such a hoe that those kids most likely aren't his. But that's what happens when men pick up used trash that have kids from different men. Woo! Oh, yeah, God, this is so sad. This is crazy. The cousin is just divulging all the information. This person says, why does the family need a GoFundMe? Sell his cars. They just want to keep his stuff, sell them. He said, you're the creator of your own reality. How ironic. So they're saying, dude, you just created your own death, basically. They said, that's just the power of what you speak on. It seems that he just created his new reality in hell. Damn, these people are horrible, guys. These comments are like gut-wrenching, right? They said he got what he deserved, and they're laughing. Like, I cannot imagine. Like, I know what happened in this story, but I'm not going to sit here and celebrate somebody's death like that. That's crazy. These people have no soul. It said people should have some respect in these disrespectful comments. This man died. Right, that's what I'm trying to say. They don't care, though. They do not care. They said maybe he shouldn't have effed around. Oh, shoot. Whew, they said, I see a lot of screenshots on TikTok. Isn't it true that they were taunting him on IG? Literally 36.2 thousand agreed with the TikTok posting receipts. It is what it is. Dang. And then here's the cousin. He said, yes, and not just on Instagram. They were sending Thomas sex videos. Oh, my God. Did you guys see this? Gloria and her lover were sending sex videos to her husband while she's still married and living in his home that he paid that over $600,000 for them to live in. Damn, unapologetic about it. See, that's one thing about these stories, y'all. You cannot rely just on news reports. If you really want to know the true story, I recommend you read the comments in different posts and go on Facebook and just type in these people's names and go onto their social media accounts, because you'll be surprised after you read through them comments. You'll find out what really happened, because news stations are not going to report the truth. They're going to give you a flowery story of how the victim was this innocent person who was victimized by this crazy psychopath who couldn't let go of a relationship. But when you dig deep into the story, like I like to do in all my stories, which is why my lives are so long, because I like to dig deep into the story to find out what really happened. What really, and this is crazy that this man is saying that she sent her husband sex videos. Damn. Thomas had a lot of patience because he could have killed her and took her out a long time ago. But he tried his best, and this guy's sitting here laughing at him, flipping him off and stuff. He tried his best to try to be the bigger person and could no longer take it. This person says, you're the creator of your own reality. In hindsight, those words sound like he predicted his fate. They said the song and caption did not age well. Let's hear the song. What they talking about here? I don't even hear a song on here. Where's the song? I don't know where the song is. Look, he tagged Gloria. Oh my God. The boldness of tagging this other man, this man's wife, dude. He laughing like, ha ha, I got your wife. Ha ha. I'm clapping them cheeks. The laughter, the smirking in front of a card that even Domas had, and tagging his wife. And this, look, let's read this final comment. Let's read these few comments, and then we're gonna go to Thomas's Instagram to see what he had to say. Well, he didn't really say much on there, but just see what he had on there. This person said, that's why they don't mess with married people and don't do bad things. It was not a white dove, such Hector bullying her husband and mocked on the networks. And the girl to have 16 years with her husband in 2 weeks asked for a divorce. It's impudent. But the moral of this story is do things right and end the relationship right before you go with another one. So you don't end up like this guy. This person says, I met Thomas, and the truth was he's not only a humble, hardworking man, but a provider. While the mother was breaking down working, Gloria didn't even bother to work. She certainly paid for some of her surgeries and supported the 5 children, actually there's 7, who weren't his. It's a shame that some women don't value that and always look to climb another branch that has more money. Damn, and let's look at this cousin right here. He said, my cousin was a great man. And full surgeries besides, Thomas paid for 14 surgeries and stayed at my house. I had nothing natural and only demanded money. We all said it. He's basically saying that Gloria had nothing natural and she only demanded money, but they had a typo there. They said, we all said it. Don't marry that bitch. Used with children of 4 different men. That's what she meant. She said vats. She has 22 and already has 4 different men. I don't know what they mean by she has 22. I don't know what they mean. But he marries her. I took her out of the street. Oh, sorry. She was 22 when he first met her. Sorry about that. Because they're married for 16 years. So he's saying she was 22 when he met her and she already had 4 different men at that time. And they told her not to marry her. There was like, this girl's a thought. Don't marry her. But Thomas was so in love. And he had these rose-colored glasses. And he wanted a house on the prairie with the perfect wife. And he thought he had found her. And he just ignored his family and married her anyway. With all the red flags screaming at him in the face, he overlooked them all and he married this woman. And it turned out that his family was right all along. They said, I took her out of the street and then look at this shit. All right. This said, got smoked for dealing with a high mileage influencer. These people were brutal. I can't even read anymore because this is horrendous how unapologetic these people are, y'all. I'm trying to see. Oh, here he is. Can you guys see this? This is Tomas's social media. Okay. So he had his own social media on Instagram. And let's just see what he was posting about. And let's see. Where are we? So he had about 432 followers. He went to a lot of concerts, basically. Now notice this is a real homegrown Mexican man who embraces his Mexican culture, which I love about him. And that's what Gloria loved about him. That's why you notice in her side dude's Instagrams, he started planting these little songs that were Mexican songs that the guys were speaking Spanish because he knew that's what Gloria liked. And her husband used to do this. And that was one of the things she loved about him because he embraced his culture and was very passionate about being a Hispanic man, and he embraced his culture. That's one. So this is him attending a concert. Let's read what this person had to say on Thomas's. This is a long message, what they said. They said, rest in peace, my compa Thomas. Since January, twisted the messages in the sale. Now, some of these people have a lot of typos in their comments, y'all. I don't know what this is, but they said, very good cars, also not a G-Wagon, but bad, did not live glory. As to put the horns, since the opera glory wanted more and find Hector when Bing takes who pays the surgery, support her with her clothing brand. Dang, so she had a clothing brand too. Babysitting while she went to the gym. So Hector was out here supporting her in all her dreams. He even helped her clothing brand as well, which that's some different tea that I didn't know about. And then he was watching the kids while she was out sleeping with Hector, basically. She didn't let him go with her to the gym to look because she wanted to appear single. Dang, y'all, she didn't even let him. So remember on that podcast before she was murdered, she tried to make it look like Thomas didn't support her in her dreams, and he told her how she was not good enough to be a social media and fitness influencer. But the people who knew Thomas is saying that Gloria wouldn't allow him to go to the gym with her because she wanted to make it look like she was single after she had all these surgeries, and she could now market herself to garner a bigger fish, meaning a man who had more money. That's why she got all these. Can you imagine? Thomas paid thousands and thousands of dollars to reconstruct his wife's body because this woman had the sole intentions of using her body to seduce and target a new man, meaning her new narcissistic supply who could supply her with more financial riches. That's crazy work. Imagine you pouring into your spouse only for your spouse to give all the benefits that you invested into her to a new person. That's cutthroat. Just cutthroat. Okay. They said here she didn't let him go to the gym because she wanted to appear single. They make fun of shots, putting post to Hector, shooting at a shooting range as threatening Thomas, basically. Thomas also gave for the down payment of his house. I witnessed that he works hard to pay the mortgage. Himself wrote in a past post that was deleted. I accepted her and raised her 3 glorious children, wanted to open an OnlyFans, but Thomas told him no, or told her no. So in the podcast says Gloria claimed that, he did not support her and that Hector said yes. So that day, Hector was trying to support her to do OnlyFans. So that's when he went to the Victoria's Secret. Remember where the lady said she saw them at? So that very day, Hector's like, I'll support you because your husband won't, basically. And he took her to Victoria's Secret. He bought her all the lingerie. And that's when they took the hot pictures in that black car that we saw on Hector's social media, basically. And this person says, I think that's when Thomas opened his eyes or whatever. I'm just saying so you can see that not everything is how the news tells it. There are men codes, and Hector should have just walked away when Thomas confronted him, but he didn't. So there you go. Gonna miss my homie Thomas. That's crazy. There's more comments in here, y'all. This person says, rest in peace. His feelings were valid. I'm sorry. He was broken. So you can see the different tone here on Thomas's account. There's hundreds of people on here. If you go through and take your time to go through the comments, you'll see they're all defending Thomas. They're like, you were really a chill guy, Thomas. Not sure what went wrong. This person says, they said, rest in peace, old man. This, sir, is a man of few words. So they're trying to say how mild-tempered he was. You got to watch out for people who are a man of few words, because those people are the most lethal ones. When they snap, if you know what I mean. No comprendo. Él era el ex con quien él estaba en el rest. They said, I don't understand. Was he the ex or who, or was she at the rest? Okay, this person don't know what's going on. That's all I'm saying here. They say, you didn't deserve what happened to you and your family are valid. They made you snap. And no matter what anyone says that it doesn't justify what you did, they aren't in your shoes to say that. Still sad. I wish you would have been stronger and continued with your life with someone that would truly value you. Dang. This person said, bro's wife was getting clapped while little homie did 14 hours a day. When he found out he couldn't take it anymore and did what he did. Rest in peace. So you can see all these people are defending him. This person says, damn, rest in peace, Gloria. Very nice lady. Thomas, a very cool dude. I know them both through my father. So you can see he was a pretty chill dude. He didn't really say much. He loved his stuff. Now look at here, guys. This is what I was trying to show you. Look at this is the same exact car that Hector posted on his social media. Remember that? Let's go. Well, can I find that? Oh yeah. You guys remember that? Just remember that last, he posted that car flipping off Thomas, right? Well, he did that strategically because Thomas posted this picture of the same black vehicle, right? In November 29, 2020. So you see, in June, before he was murdered, Hector posted the same exact car flipping off the husband to say, ha ha, I got the same car you have. Like anything you have, I can do better, basically. I got the same car. Look how the wife at this time was like, amazing job you and David Castillo have done with this car. You see that? You see that? So this is exactly, Hector was taunting this man because he posts the same car on his social media to taunt him to say, I got the same car you got. Bam. You know, I'm doing just as good as you. This is why I came to this, to show you this, that this is the same car. This man had worked hard to reconstruct this car. It meant the most to him. And then Hector shows him the same exact car on his social media to mock him, to say, bruh, I got the same car. You see, he loved his kids and stuff, just a great dad and stuff. But you notice that people were saying that about this, that this man was over here. See, look, bam, he posts the same car. And this was posted June 21st of this year. So you know he posted this and he's flipping them off and laughing and smirking and stuff to mock Thomas, to say, ha ha, I got the same car you have. And we know this was in a way to taunt Thomas because, again, Thomas posted his picture of his car in 2020, so 5 years ago. So Hector strategically posted this particular car and further mocked Thomas by having taking his wife to Victoria's Secret, buying her lingerie, and then taking seductive pictures on this same vehicle that Thomas, on the other hand, slaved hours and days and months to reconstruct his car that he did. He had to really work. He's a hardworking man. Whereas Hector's, this wealthy businessman, is saying, I didn't have to do all the stuff you did. You had to go through all this work to reconstruct your car. But all I had to do is put down, a couple of thousands of dollars, and I just purchased the same car you got, and F you, I got your wife too. Damn. Can you really blame the man after seeing all this, guys? Again, I'm not saying what he did was right. I'm not condoning at all what this man did to his wife or did to Hector. But when you hear the full story, you can see the whole truth that the news outlets did not share with you when you probably heard this story before, that there was so much more that had been under the surface, that had been boiling over for over a year, that caused this man to snap. And again, I pray that everyone that was affected by this, that they heal and they get comforted by God. And I do pray that the victims rest in peace. But the reality is that we have to be careful how we move in this world. We have to be kind to one another. We have to treat people how we want to be treated, the old golden rule. Because sometimes it's the things that we do that trigger people to step out of their normal state, as it happened in this situation. A calm, mild-tempered man of few words who worked hard, worked 14 to 16 hours a day to support a woman who he pulled out of a very low position as a single mother with 3 kids and gave her a new life and accepted her for who she was, flaws and all. And then invested 16 years of his life and paying thousands of dollars to reconstruct this woman's body through 14 surgeries and buy her a car and buy her a $600,000 house. Only to be disgraced in the worst way. gosh, this story was a lot, right? Almost 3 hours on this live, but I had to dissect it. It's so sad. I hope that you guys stuck it out with me. I hope you guys can learn from this story. And I also hope that you guys can share with me what your thoughts are in this story, and we can all learn together as a community. All right, guys, take care and have a lovely night. Like, comment, and subscribe.